will like never win another World Series. Oh, we're live.
You brought up a good point.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever heard anything more eloquently stated. But what are we here to talk about today?
Other than the Mets being hopeless?
Yeah, that's the most important thing.
Well,
You hear that, Matt?
Matt's probably not even on
No,
yet.
he's not.
He's gonna watch this later.
Yeah.
Hey, dude, it's your channel.
Yeah.
I defer to you.
Let's do a roll call. So, Brennan, obviously.
Brennan, this is my channel. Hello.
Alex.
Yeah, thank you.
Marcel.
Dylan.
Of Twin Sons.
Foundation.
Yeah, indeed. The only official representative of LEGENDSCON.
No, we're
right
not a representative of LegendsCon. We're
No,
just
you're right.
Yeah.
Of Twin Sons.
Of Twin
Foundation,
Sons.
which is
Twin
at
at
Legends.
LegendsCon, yes. Yeah, Brian went to get something to eat, and I thought, well, I'll hop on this man because I've never been on your channel officially before.
It's awesome.
So might as well do it in person first.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we decided to get some pizza, which will hopefully be here soon.
Yes. Yes, indeed. So we'll have pizza, drinks, stream, and talk about our day
Yes.
and our overall thoughts. I think one of the first things we should talk about is, was it a good day for Twin Sons? Like donations-wise, you had a panel. How do you feel it went?
So yeah, I think it went pretty well. So all the books, just to start, our expectations were kind of low for LegendsCon. I think I told when I was on the phone with the representative at the Boys and Girls Club at Burbank, which is where all the books were are going to be donated to. I told her like, yeah, we probably expect somewhere between like 10 and 30 books, and we got 32 books today, and we still have tomorrow, which I'm pretty sure we're not going to double that because I think 2/3 of the books that we got were from people who already knew who had brought them in, right? So I think it will simmer down, but like we've already again hit the minimum of what we thought we told them we would bring.
Was there any book in particular that you got the most copies of, out of curiosity?
I saw a lot of Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
We got 2 Revenge of the Sith. We got a bunch. I think we have the entire. We got like 2 separate people that between the 2 of them donated the entire Republic Commando series. Funny enough.
Wow.
We have a couple not Dark Rendezvous. There's another book from someone that's here. Shatter Points. I think we have like 3 Shatter Points. 1 in like Central Legends collection and 2 mass market paperbacks.
Nice.
That's cool. Yeah. It was a busy day. I mean, speaking for myself, and I think maybe Brendan's the same for you, like I ate breakfast before the con started, and I haven't eaten anything since.
And I have not eaten yet today. So this is actually the first thing other than a water that I've had. So
There was just no time.
yeah.
Running between trying to get things signed
Yep.
and trying to attend panels, and there were just way too many panels for us to attend all of them. So I think that they're being recorded, which is really good because there are some that I wasn't able to go to, like the Clone Wars panel with Sean Stewart and Matt Stover.
I went to that though.
Did you? Yeah,
I did.
Was it really good?
They got along really well.
Yeah.
Sean Stewart's a big introvert, and Stover is not.
I think they both like super respect one another.
Yeah,
which is kinda cool.
They got
That was
along
awesome.
really well.
Yeah, because that was the one I saw this quote somewhere on one of the Discord servers where someone said like Stover used the characterization for Count Dooku in
Revenge of the Sith.
he used his characterization that he was reading about from Count Dooku in Yoda Dark Rendezvous for like how he characterized him in
Right.
Revenge of the Sith for like the 3 chapters of that book he was actually in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he was beheaded.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, like there was like panels like that I couldn't go to. And was there anything else that you missed out on that you wanted to go to?
I mean, you guys went to the Randy Stratley, right? No, you went.
No.
You went there, but we all missed that. I think only the games went.
But we're gonna corner him tomorrow
Yeah.
to convince Brennan definitively that Wood Wars is not canon to the EU.
Wait, but we're gonna have to check with Mr. Mike Hansen as well because he put it in the epics, not the infinities.
Yeah.
Sorry, I kind of
We're
got everything.
gonna have a cross.
That's right.
I kind of got everything I wanted. I knew that Barbara Hamley was going to have less people attending her, so I made sure to go to Barbara Hamley. and it ended. And when I showed up to the Matthew Stover one, which was the one that was the mostly packed, they just got done talking about Shatterpoint, which I cared about the least. So it worked out.
You
for
got
me.
there right when
Right when he started talking about
Trader.
Trader, which is the only thing I care about the most out of everything Stover had to talk about. So it worked out. By the way, quote of the day from Matthew Stover is, my opinion literally doesn't matter more than yours, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Paraphrasing there.
It was great.
It was great. I want that,
It
like,
was so great.
I want to get a book signed by him and have that little quote in my book.
I thought the quote of the day, and I'm not going to quote him directly because he used a bunch of swear words in it. But
Yeah.
the quote of the day was that he wrote Trader to mess with people.
Yeah.
And he's
To
like,
mess-
he's like, this is going to mess with people.
To mess
People. Yeah. Not necessarily wrote it to mess with people, but said he reflected on the fact after he wrote that this is really going to.
He thought it was going to stir the pot.
The thing
He
that
was excited to like cause a little like shockwave
yeah.
through the fandom
And
after
he
wrote Trader.
did though.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day in the 4-star message boards, because he mentioned that in his panel. Like, and I was on those boards. I was very young at the time, but like I was on those boards, and people freaked out when Trader came out. Like there was just like this huge outpouring of like love, anger, the gamut of human emotions.
Yeah.
Just display themselves on those message boards after Trader came out. So. And he said, like, I was on those boards too, and he was just laughing about all the reactions to it. It just must be so rewarding to see your work play out exactly as you intended.
He has such a presence. It's funny. I don't want to make comparisons to me and Stover because I am by no way, shape, or form anything like Stover. But I do find it interesting. No, because a lot of people make jokes about me, like when I make my videos, that I like pontificate.
Yeah,
and that
you're like going like this.
I make everything become this Shakespearean soliloquy as I'm talking about some random books. And that's what he did.
You're doing
That's
it
what
right
he
now.
But he was cinematic. He
That's
was
what he
like
did throughout
he
the
was
entire
jumping out of
panel.
his chair.
He's also classically trained, right? He said he
he
an actor,
is
right?
actually.
So
And Sean Stewart too, when he was miming
Fencing.
fencing,
And he went,
where he get hit in the chest, and he did it twice, and he like jumps back.
I was looking down
I
at my
was
phone at that time.
surprised at how
because-
loud they came out because how like
I was
quiet
trying to
he is.
write one of his quotes down on my phone on one of the Discord servers. And he goes boom, and I'm like, I almost dropped my phone. I was like, what?
Yeah, it was amazing.
I think my favorite thing though was Stover that he talked about, and I don't know. I know you recorded it, but he got on this tangent about how he's never going to tell you what he thinks about anything he's written. You will not hear it from him. He refuses to give you his opinion. He has an opinion. He refuses to tell you because he doesn't, contrary to what some friends of mine may think. But he will not tell you that you're wrong about your opinion with anything that he's written because he says your opinion is just as valid.
What he said was, you're all looking at little black squiggles on white pages, and that's meaning something to you.
Yeah.
What
You're
matters
the
is
one
how
who's
you
imagining
interpret
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just like that way of going about writing a story. That it's not like, yes, you're trying to get a certain theme or story beat out there, but ultimately, whoever's reading it's going to get what they get out of it, and that's what you're doing it for. You're not there to like play God on what they want it to be.
Yeah.
Were you able to get to any of the panels other than
No,
conducting?
I was at the
some-
table the entire time. By the way, there was a panel from 12 to 2:15. Michael Stackpole had a writing workshop, and from 12 to 1, Matthew Stover had a panel. The convention hall was dead during that hour.
There were like 10
was,
people.
There
you
was
said?
maybe 10 people, not counting the exhibitors, that were like still walking around. Everyone was at one of those two panels.
Yeah.
That makes
Actually,
sense. I mean, those are like two of the biggest names. I actually saw you in line behind me for the Mike Stackpole signings. Did you get your book signed?
Yes,
Okay.
I got everything signed.
All right. Iron Inquisitor, he said this is almost the equivalent of gathering the Avengers together. And Scott Johnson says, so Stover was based, ? Also,
Very
anyone else had good thing? Did anyone else have anything good to say during the interviews?
One of the things that I really liked hearing about was Sean Stewart mentioned in a really cool way that his daughter was reading Dark Rendezvous as he was writing it.
Yeah.
And she was basically his first editor.
And his inspiration for Scout.
And his inspiration for the character of Scout. And he also based Scout in her dueling based on his experiences of getting too amped up going into fencing and ending up losing the fight, just like what happens to Scout. And he fell in love with the character so much, and he was also writing Wee Mauru at this time as well. And with Wee Mauru, he knew, as he said, his fate was already written.
Yeah.
So he said it like almost felt demotivating to be writing a character that he knew he couldn't get too attached to because he's gonna die at Anakin's hand. So he wrote to Lucasfilm and said, "Please don't kill Scout." And I think it's so interesting to learn that it was Sean Stewart's specific request to keep Scout alive. And then he taught writing workshops that Karen Travis had sat in on.
Yeah.
And Karen Travis was the one who would canonically show that Scout was saved and survived Order 66. Absolutely incredible.
So apparently, the idea that Karen Travis didn't read or talk to other people regarding the EU is not true.
Well, she definitely read Yoda Dark Rendezvous.
Yeah,
definitely.
He said like she never told him about it, but
Yeah.
he found out about it afterwards, and he thought it was really
cool.
nice of her to,
Yeah.
to include Scout in her work.
Mm.
One of my
Also,
other
I just completely thought about right now. Right after you said that, I did not talk to Barbara Hamley at the actual panel, but when I was getting my Children Jedi signed by her, I asked her if she had any plans for like a prequel story with Calista, and she said she had some ideas, but ultimately that was not the direction Lucasfilm wanted to go. And then. But I did tell her, I said, and I didn't mention No Prisoners, but I did say in Republic Commando, Callista's actually a character within it. And she didn't know that. She just straight up didn't know, which I thought was really funny.
Yeah, that was amazing.
But she thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I thought she was lovely, Barbara Hamley. She was really nice, and I
made her day by talking about Ishmael.
Ishmael, yeah, I talked about thanks to Chris Nelson for that. I talked about Ishmael, the Star Trek novel that she wrote that has like the Doctor Who reference in there, and I asked if she got any pushback about that Doctor Who reference. She said no, because no one really like noticed it or something like that. But there was apparently a controversy going on at the time, and she's like, think of like when it was written, and think about like the 70s and stuff like that, and then you'll know what kind of controversy was going on at the time. So I haven't read Ishmael yet, but I really want to. Just to see what that controversy was.
Find out what it was.
She said she wouldn't. She said she didn't. It was too much to get into here, is what she said.
Only Good Games is sitting with Maxwell, I think, in person. So
Oh,
that's
cool
awesome.
for them.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Scott asked, did Sean want the right to want? I think he means right, but he wrote right as in like right or wrong. A sequel for Scout. And why did he not want her killed off?
It sounded like he was content to move on after Dark Rendezvous.
Yeah.
Because he talked about how fantasy was like his best genre to work in. He talked about how he enjoyed his stint in sci-fi, but that he's gotten accolades from fantasy, and that he really was glad to move back into fantasy.
That was actually some of that was discussed outside the panel, because we saw him outside the convention area, and he just talked to us.
He just like came and talked to us for like.
It was
20 minutes.
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. And
the other thing,
when I got it signed, he offered to write a recipe on the page, and I said to him, "Go for it if you want." And he said, "You've called my bluff." And I said, "If you did write something, I'd try to follow it."
Yeah, but he did tell us that Lucasfilm like barely talked to him throughout the writing of the book.
Although he did talk to Leland Chee.
He did talk to Leland. He did talk to Leland Chee about like some continuity stuff, but Lucasfilm barely talked to him. And he said afterwards they never asked him to write another Star Wars book.
But what's funny though, also to the second part, the reason why he really didn't want Scout killed is he said that he like thought about his 14-year-old daughter at the time.
Yeah.
She was actually there. She's not 14 now, but he was talking about like a lot of the inspiration came from her, so he didn't want his 14-year-old daughter to be dead. So
She was in the panel, like sitting in the audience, not even up there with
Yeah.
him.
And she was calling out to him. It was amazing.
Yeah, she's like, "Thanks for not killing me off." Dad."
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was
amazing.
funny. You guys weren't with me for the Clone Wars one, but Stover and him were talking.
And who else was in there?
It was Sean
Oh,
Stewart.
Sean Stewart.
Yeah. So Sean Stewart was talking about how he only had 4 months to write this book.
Okay.
But he, they wanted somebody who could write it in 4 months, and he said, I guess. And he said about how he only, as you said, he only got to talk to Leland Chee. He went to
For like
Skywalker
species
Ranch.
and connections. And
He
stuff
went to
like that.
Skywalker Ranch. It was very cold. He went into a room that he wasn't allowed to record anything or take pictures. They talked to him for a bit, and then he bailed. And then Stover mentioned how he's like, yeah, you just gotta not write a book you just have to be not so good that you can write a book in 4 months. And then they tend to, try to coddle you a little bit more. And so because he's like, man, it's funny, I wrote a book in 4 months and no one talked to me outside of Lou and she's like, yeah, you just gotta like go straight to the deadline. Because he talked about the Shatterpoint, he waited till, or was it Shatterpoint or Mindor? One or the other, but he waited till like literally the deadline to release the epilogue of the story, just so they couldn't change it that much.
That's interesting.
What was really cool as well is when they were asking about specific scenes, like the Yoda actor in the beginning, he was like, well, when I had 4 months, I was just like, all right, just came up with an idea. There needs to be some body double here. I'm just gonna go for this, and then he did. And then he mentioned another scene was when the 2 assassin droids were up,
Solus and Fidelis.
yeah, up on the skyscraper in the rain, and he said like stuff like that, just like he wrote it down and just went with it.
Yeah.
But as Dylan was manning the Twin Suns booth and not able to get to some panels, I was glad to see right at the beginning of the day. I went over and saw you like rushing past me, and I said to Brian, "Where's he going?" And he said he caught word that Hambly is here, and you were off like a rocket.
No. So that was a coincidence. So what happened was I was walking by because there's like a bookstore, right? So I said I'm gonna go see what they actually have at the bookstore. And while I was walking by, Hambly walks in, and I knew it was Hambly right away because I recognized Hambly. She was in like She claims it's not a Calista cosplay, by the way. It's a normal Jedi cosplay, but I saw her, and then she says, "Where is like the place that we signed?" It's like, "Oh, it's right here." And it's like, "Okay, cool." It's like, "Oh, I have stuff for you to sign." Actually, it's like, "Oh, I didn't bring any pens." I'm like, "I can get you some pens." So I then ran back to the Twin Suns booth, grabbed my copy of a paperback copy of Planet of Twilight and Crystal Star, grabbed a couple pens, and I ran back and I was like, here's some pens. Can you sign this for me?
One of the things she said in her panel, since I was like the only one who went, she was very sour about because what I didn't know, I never knew this. I don't know if anybody else knew this and just didn't tell me or didn't speak about it. Lucasfilm pitched to her when this was not her decision. When Children of the Jedi was asked to be made, they said, "Give us the life partner of Luke."
Yeah,
they told her to do
that.
that. I don't know. I don't think I ever was informed about it. But
yeah.
So she said to do that. So she made Calista. And then sometime after that, in between, they decided we're not going that route because she didn't say, but she said a particular author of, according to Lucasfilm, a better quality than her, dictated that his character gets to be the one and only.
Although, speaking of Calista, we got to mention that Abel Pena said that Calista was one of his favorite female characters in the EU.
Yeah, Pena did say that. That was amazing.
We need to, one of you guys, we can run into Stackpole again. We should probably ask, like, okay, so when did you know that Mara was Endgame? Just to maybe kind of put some like more clarity to like
Stackpole
the timeline.
talked about Union a little bit and how he felt such honor in giving his like hero, who he viewed as a hero, like marrying him off. He felt like such a responsibility.
Yeah, I'm bearing off an iconic character.
Yeah, exactly. That's the words he used. Yeah.
Yeah, we should ask him. If one of us ever runs into him.
Well, he has his panel, just him tomorrow.
Okay.
Like Stackpole in the morning, I believe.
But it's the first one. So yeah. But yeah. So I just want to mention Hamley bit since I was the only one. Actually, son of Luke showed up a little bit later. But
when me and Marcel talked to Hambly, Marcel asked her like if she had any plans for a like future Calista novel, like beyond Planet of Twilight, not like a prequel, but like beyond. And she said she wanted to do like a murder mystery.
She's
in
very,
what style did she say again?
She said like I don't know, like sort of like trapped in a house kind
So
of style.
yeah, like that.
And she said eventually it just kind of translated into murder.
Murder and slush time. And she said that that's as close as she got to that storyline.
Yeah, she talked about her influences. She grew up writing. I mean, it was fan fiction, but they didn't really have a word for it back in the day. But you know, she got ridiculed and made fun of because I guess she was fat when she was in high school, and people made fun of her for that and for making fan fictions.
That's awful.
But she really liked like murder mysteries. That's the thing. She's actually written some Sherlock Holmes stories, which I didn't know.
Oh wow, that's cool.
But yeah, so she really likes that sort of thing, and she also likes just the random everyday people in Star Wars, because she's like, that's it's fun. That's why she made the Jabba's cook, because what Jabba as a cook, what's he up to?
Yeah.
So that's why she did that. So, yeah. So she with the murder mystery, she was like, I want to have like the everyday people and have this whole murder mystery within Star Wars, and she thought that would have been really cool.
When I met her, I told her, I was like, when I read your book, I was like 11 or 12, and I could not grasp.
And she
the
was
pros.
glad about that.
Yeah, she's like, oh well, if you had been able to grasp the pros when you were 12, what did she say?
She said I would have been a bit disappointed.
I would have been a bit
Also,
yeah.
because I know everybody always harps on, or the people that don't like it harp on the Calista taking over, the student. She said the whole theme or idea behind that is that you find love, but sometimes it's lost because of death or circumstance or whatever. You can't control that. And it was kind of a pet cemetery, since you like Stephen King sort of thing, where she went.
Did she mention Stephen King?
She did mention Stephen King.
Oh,
But
Wow.
or sorry,
Base Hambly is what her name is now.
No one's
actually,
gonna completely turn
Hi,
his
Chris, by the
opinion
way, I saw
around
you
after
earlier.
this.
I don't know if actually.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Actually, I might be. I'm gonna be honest. I might be lying about that, so I apologize.
Okay, well, you
But-
got my hopes.
But she did say that when you try to bring something back, it's not going to come back the way it was.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
We have to pause. Something horrible has happened.
What has happened?
The hotel threw away all of Maxwell's books he got signed today.
What?
I
Where?
told him to ask someone from LEGENDSCON if they can get in the hotel's ear about them throwing away his personal property.
How?
How is that possible? No, what? That is horrible. Maxwell was legendary today.
Yeah, Maxwell asked
Oh,
the
yeah.
tough questions that nobody else would ask today. We're not gonna be on this stream because we're going to need like an NC-17 rating for it.
Yeah, Maxwell went pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna just show this for a second. That. Oh no, here. So this one was on. Frick. So it's kind of hard, but
Where was it? Up here?
yeah, it was somewhere. Frick. There was a couple
Oh,
things.
Chris is here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go back up a bit because there was a couple other people that you guys were talking. I want to interrupt.
We
Go back.
we saw Joe and talked to him.
We
for
talked to him a
long
lot.
time.
I love Joe.
Absolutely
Joe's an
delightful.
amazing person.
We talked to Joe for actually just now, like at the
Yeah.
Dylan and Brian were talking to Jason Fry for a while.
Yeah.
But you talked to Joe too earlier.
We were talking to
today.
Joe for a
Two
while.
Star Wars nerds said something about you earlier. I didn't.
He said, "What a crew! Why is Brennan so tall? I'm 5'10". Why is his haircut so nice? Ask shout out Carlos Barber in Arkansas. There we go.
Ooh, Carlos.
Yeah, way to go.
Yeah, well, we all got a chance to talk to Joe. I would say like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's
Absolutely
so great.
incredible. A friend and
He
like
was-
someone I look up to.
I just don't
Amazing
understand. He
person.
was more excited to see me and you for some
Yeah,
reason. I was like, "But you're the author. What are you?"
Yeah, it was
thinking?"
crazy. He was like thanking us for making videos, and it was
Yeah.
just like, what are you talking about? Thank you for making it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have the videos if not for your book. But he's like, "No, you guys are great." And then he maybe I shouldn't.
He
I
talked
watched
about a
him-
lot of things he's going to be working on
Yeah.
next.
Yeah,
is what we'll say.
Yeah, some good
we're
stuff.
there.
Yeah, we talked a lot about. Actually, what we should talk about is Michael Kobe.
What a terrific guy. I got to the pleasure to talk to him for a good 10 minutes.
The very first short story that he wrote in the expanding universe was for an adventure journal. What
Adventure Journal number 3, it was called The Business of Bacta, and he submitted it when he was in high school.
Right, and Brennan brought it to the Adventure Journal for him to sign, and he said it was the first time that someone's ever gotten him to sign.
Yeah, he got a picture of signing
that
it, of him
Adventure
signing
Journal, and just like what a nice guy, and
it. So good.
We talked about the Despotica and how he derived all of his influences from the Greek tragics
And
like
we
Sophocles
met
and
the
Euripides.
inspiration for Oziov from
we,
that.
We met his friend who's
Who
the
the-
inspiration
yeah.
for Oziov, the Tin Dwarf. And just like you just get a sense that all these authors and creators were they're in the same circle. all knew one another, and they were all like Tuckerizing one another.
They're all
at
friends.
certain
They
points.
it seems like they have a community
Yeah.
the way we, the fans, have a community.
So I was able to confirm with Stackpole the story about how when he was writing I Jedi, and he wanted to blow up Exar Kun's temple, but he didn't know if Kevin Janderson was going to be doing anything with it in Young Jedi Knights.
Yeah.
So he called him and was just like, "Are you planning on doing anything with it?" And he's like, "No." And he's like, "Okay, cool. So I can blow it up then."
And it's
That's
cool. Yeah,
amazing.
it's cool how they talk to one another.
Oh,
That's pizza.
Is there what other panels did you go to that we didn't go to?
I don't know if there was any other one that ended up pretty much sticking to the same thing after that. Oh, I went to Able Gpenia, which you planned on going with me, but you guys got stuck in the Stackpole signing
so-
line and you didn't show up till like the very end.
In what should surprise no one, Michael Stackpole and Matt Stover had just very. I mean,
Very long lines.
very long lines. So when we and there was a couple people in front of us for Stackpole that just brought almost like suitcases full of books for us to
Yep.
sign. And I was just I thought I brought a lot because I had 5 books, and no, there were people there with a ton of books. And I you know what, they were amazing, both Stackpole and Stover, and they took the time to talk to people. And you never got the sense that you were rushed along.
Yeah.
Which was
Arthur Lowry, we saw Arthur today. Arthur's great. We saw him in person. But yeah, Able Gpenia was great. He just seemed happy to be there. He seemed happy that people were even at his panel at all. I don't know. I felt I don't know why he felt like, I don't know. Of course, why wouldn't I come to it? But he talked a lot about the Mandalorians stuff that he wrote, and how he actually, like, it was crazy because after he wrote that is when Karen Travis got involved, and then she started writing stuff. But it all started with him releasing that initial thing about it, because he originally wanted to write about Boba Fett, but they're like, "You're a newbie, so that's not happening." But he was allowed to do. He's like, "I'll do the next best thing, then I'll do the Mandalorian since that's related to Boba Fett," and so it worked out. And then there's the outbid, but now not outgunned, Tales comic, which seemed to imply that Boba Fett had a daughter, which is a contradiction because the Last Man Standing short story and other stories seem to imply that he's a virgin. And so Able Gpenia is the one. This is not even a Karen Travis thing or anything that established the Boba Fett having a daughter, which I thought was really cool. And then he talked a lot about Skywalkers, which is really, really amazing. And he seems to really love Star Wars, and it was really great.
One of you has a paperback copy of Strict Skywalkers that you got signed by him. I forgot who.
It's Brennan.
Brennan. Yeah.
What did I show?
Your paperback copy of Skywalkers that you
Oh,
got
yeah.
him to sign.
This stream is brought to you by.
Pizza.
Not sponsored.
No, it's not, it's not, it's
We're
not.
lying. We're lying. It's a joke.
Yeah, it's gonna get like canceled.
Here. This is like the old Legends podcast when we claim to be sponsored by Comcast every time we have technical issues.
Well, the biggest news to come out of
Here, well,
There you go.
the biggest news to come out of the day was we got Essential Legends Collection Wave 11 revealed to us by Twin Suns.
So, okay, I don't know. So this was leaked on Facebook, and I haven't confirmed it myself because it's not on Amazon and it's not on Edelweiss, but someone in one of the Facebook groups confirmed that it is on the UK Amazon. But Essential Legends Collection Wave 10, according to them, is 501st Imperial Commando, makes sense.
Cheese.
X-Wing, Iron Fist by Michael Stackpole. I guess I don't know if that's an error or not. I'll have to check the Amazon UK page when I get, or one of you guys can check Amazon UK and look for these. And the other is the
That one's
The Adventures
so
of
wild.
Lando Calrissian.
Written by nobody. The author's not even mentioned.
Yeah, not even mentioned. Which, like, no confirmation is like, okay, is it all three? Is it just gonna be Meinhardt, or
It's so wild. Why wouldn't they do Brian Daly first? You know?
I don't know. Why are we 10 ways in? We haven't had a Kevin Janderson yet.
Or like Shadows of the Empire.
Or Truce with Bakura.
Well, why don't you tell us about your proposed Wave 11?
Well, this is Wave 12. So at the Twin Suns panel at the very end of it, we have a survey going of like what people recommend reading. So I took down and wrote all the books that people were were recommending to us that weren't already in Central Legends collection. And at the panel, we did the spinning wheel of picking them. So it was Tales from Tales from the Most Isley Cantina was the first one, and then it was what were the other two? I can't remember now.
Shadows was on there.
Shadows of the Empire.
Shadows of the Empire
Truce of Bakura.
and Truce of Bakura.
Truce, yeah.
Jedi Search, by the way, was on that wheel twice. It did not get picked. Still,
The wheel has a bias against KJA.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah. There were so many cool moments. It's hard to pinpoint them, but Abel G. Pena was awesome to meet. He's like the coolest guy.
I think so too.
His deep knowledge of the lore is just insane, but his personality is just as great as his in-depth lore knowledge. And he was just, it was an absolute pleasure to get to talk to him.
Like I said, he was just happy to be there.
Yeah. And he kept talking about how much he loved it, how it had like been made so much of his life and like forged who he is. And me and Marcel got a mass market paperback of Skywalker signed, and we gave him a trade paperback. But then we were really we gave $20 for the signature, and with that we were given an exclusive book that is only here at LegendsCon. That is his memoirs about his time with the expanded universe, and it's called Legends Never Die, and it's his experience writing the EU. I did not know that was going to be here, but I'm so excited that it was. The back has like an edited picture of his face as a Jedi. The cover's great. Oh man, I cannot wait to read it because I'm sure
I'm
there's
gonna have to
some
buy it
really
tomorrow
crazy
because I
stuff
don't
in
get a
there.
chance to. But
Yeah. It's super cool. Cool idea. I wonder. We should ask him tomorrow when he started writing that. Like, was
Yeah,
it just
I would
for
like to know. There's people that we talked to today that I would just love to continue talking to tomorrow. I'd like to go back and talk to Jason Fry a bit more about the Essential Atlas and Guide to Warfare. I would love to I could talk to Abel G. Pena all day about randoms expanding.
You talked to him
universe.
about Jedi Prince.
We did talk to him about Jedi.
We found out
Prince.
he was a big fan.
Yeah. It really, there's just so many.
Oh, and there's that thing. We talked about how. Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
There was the rumor that the reason Ken Palpatine never appeared again is because the Hollands who wrote it somehow retained the licensing to it, so that every time he was mentioned in any outside source, they would get paid.
Yeah.
And so I asked Pena because he wrote a lot of Jedi Prince stuff, and he said he's not for sure because he wasn't there when those contracts were signed, but he heard the same thing internally. So if that was a deal they managed to strike up, that is why Ken is absent from pretty much everything else. And it's interesting. Oh, that's
Sorry.
No, I got you.
show up. Because people told me to tell Dylan something, and I don't know what he's talking about. He says, tell Dylan I just looked them up on Amazon UK, but I don't know what he's referring to.
Okay, they're scroll to the next message.
Okay. They're all up.
They're all up. So all three of those are up. Okay.
Wow.
So that is
We're
confirmed.
getting a Lando at.
Oh,
man.
I see. I see
Will
what
they
you're
give him
talking
a
about.
mustache? Will they give him a mustache? Will they give Lando a mustache?
Also, Scott Johnson asks, what was everyone's favorite thing of the day? Let's hear from each one. I say we
Before
start.
we go into that, I want to talk just a bit about Karina Bechko.
Okay, yeah.
Because I went to talk to her today about Legacy 2. And I asked her two questions. My first question was Anya ever going to team up with Kate Skywalker?
Oh, what did she say?
She said they really were focusing on just establishing Anya Solo as her own character, but eventually, had it gone on long enough, there was an intention to have them have an adventure together or something like that, right? Or a story arc.
she wanted to do her own thing for a while, and then introduce that later.
And then I asked her about Anya Solo's lineage. Basically, does she must come from Jason and Tenel Khan's line? And she said, well, actually, when they wanted to flesh that out, they were under NDA. They could not touch it, so we couldn't even talk about it. She said that her understanding that she didn't know for sure was that was being saved for a book or something, basically, to essentially
Sword of the
link,
Jedi.
potentially to link the two.
And yet people say that the EU changed it. We could have all these stories.
Before we talk about our favorite parts of the day, I had a really interesting conversation with Randy Stradley. Terrific guy. I talked to him for 10, 15 minutes. Absolute delight to talk to. He mentioned that Dark Times was his favorite comic book series to write. He mentioned his favorite character to write was Bomo Greenbark. And then I mentioned that like the community has a debate which comedic sidekick is better, Griff or Bomo, and he said, of course it's Bomo. And I was like, I like Bomo more, and he's like, as you should, as anyone should, which I thought was really funny. I also mentioned that Dash Jenner looked like Legolas originally. He said when he cut the hair and got the beard, people started to say he was looking like me now. So he went from Legolas to looking like Randy Stradley. He also mentioned that he had plans for stories past A Spark Remains, which was really interesting to find out. But even more interesting was that there was going to be a Dash Jenner movie that was talked about in like 2013, 2014, 2015
Wow.
was when they started like talking about it, right around the management shift over. And craziest thing he mentioned is that supposedly there were cardboard cutouts, huge life-size cardboard cutouts of Dash Jenner art in Kathleen Kennedy's office. That's how like close they were to making that a thing. And even cooler is they asked him for everything they had on Dash Jenner. So he wrote everything down that he had from the comics and wrote a new backstory and origin to fill in the gaps. That's new EU. But he sent it to them and now it's lost to time, sadly. But I would have loved to find out like the short biography of Dash Jenner as Randy Stradley wrote.
Yep. All right, I guess we could go to what favorite parts of the day.
I'll say we start with
Of
the
course. Gotta
the
start.
man.
Gotta start with the
It's
man.
got to be. This is cheating. It's got to be finally meeting Joe, because
Yeah.
it's like someone I've known about for a long time, and I know other people have been able to talk to, and I've just never got the chance to meet him. And like finally, like meeting him and having a conversation in person, and like finding out that like he shouted me out in the supernatural encounters
Yeah.
that I didn't even know, and also like again like how familiar he was with like what we've done, and it's like. Like you said, it's like, oh yeah, I know you guys, and it's like, what do you mean you know us? We're nobody. You're Joe. You're like,
Yeah.
and just having like a really deep conversation. Like we talked about so many things. I remember because I brought him our survey over, and he was like, oh yeah, we should start people off like Jedi Prince is a good place to start people off, and like. And it talked about it's so funny like Jedi Prince and like Crystal Star how they've had like in the last 5 years of research. He's like, I know, but I've always loved Crystal Star. I've always thought it was so great, and just having those kind of conversations with not only him but just like I was in line with someone in the Stackpole line, and we just ended up talking. The Stackpole line took an hour basically to see Stackpole.
Yeah.
But that whole time we were just talking about like, oh yeah, this was great, and like why did they do this, or this didn't make sense, or I like this but I didn't like this, and just it's the same thing I say every time we go to conventions, Star Wars conventions, just being able to have like really deep, meaningful conversations about like the EU with someone else, and like being able to bounce back and forth.
The
And, like,
camaraderie of it.
Yeah, not just like talking at someone where you're like explaining all the lore, but having them go like, oh yeah, but also this, and you're like, oh yeah, that's right,
Yeah.
and this,
Like in normal conversation, you could have a long stream of conscious thought towards someone, and they just like absorb it or look bored the entire time. With this, they look interested, they look engaged, and then they send that stream of conscious thoughts, those words, that stream of words bounce directly back at you, and it's just so amazing. Like the previous night, we were talking about Jason Solo. And
Right.
a guy
Oh
just
my
comes
God.
up and starts talking about it like super in depth while we are having our discussion debate kind of thing. And I'm just thinking, I know that I'm at LEGENDSCON, but like I'm really here.
Yeah.
This is a guy who loves
Yeah.
this stuff.
The guy
And
was ready to
Yeah.
fight me, and I was on his side. I was,
you could just have
it
a
was
conversation.
so amazing.
We could be having a conversation about something, and then some stranger will come up, and they'll have like
Enjoy.
an informed opinion about the thing, like
I
the
know,
super
it's
niche
so
thing we're talking
crazy.
about.
Like
Which
like
you never
Jason's
experience in the wild.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just like only here.
yeah.
That's been great.
The best moment for me, or the best thing about it for me was everybody, all the authors that I met were all amazing. All of them, every single
Yeah.
one.
Same for me.
But I really I think connected on like an intellectual level with Sean Stewart. I thought like he was just like And I only recently read Go to Dark Rendezvous, but I also read another book by him called Nobody's Son, and I asked that about him, and I guess he really liked that I asked him about that novel because we had a lot to talk about, and he's just such a genuine, personable guy, and just had just a lot of insights, and he's so eloquent too. He just carries himself so well, and you can tell that he's so educated and he knows just a lot of things. And so I told him, I said, I'm gonna now read every single book that you've ever written, Sean Stewart. It's like he's like, well, I've written 12 of them. I'm like, I've already gotten 2 down, so I got 10 more to go. Let me read every single one. So for me, Sean Stewart was definitely the highlight.
Ryan?
Yeah. What's my highlight? You go. I'll come back over.
Okay. Cheesy as it is. I will say, to piggyback off of Dylan, I love meeting Joe. I think Joe has to be honestly one of the sweetest people I've ever met. He's so kind, and like I had like the biggest smile on my face. Like not even just because he's an author and he was taking the time to talk to me, but because he just oozes kindness, and it was just so great to talk to him. But my actual favorite thing so far, and I know, cringe, was been meeting all year.
For me as well.
You don't know how excited
Cop out.
No, shut up. No, so last night I came in, but you had to like leave like right after I showed up. But just the fact, like my heart skipped a beat when he was like, "Hey, Alex," shook my hand and walked off. I'm like, Dylan just shook my hand. He just walked off like it's nothing.
I'm nobody, okay?
Does he understand?
Twin Sons Foundation. Come
Twin
on,
Sons
man.
Foundation, piss couch, and he says he's nothing. You hear this? Anyway,
Numbers
that's
guy, statistics guy, wheel guy.
That was my cosplay for this con, but they wouldn't let me bring my couch costume across the border.
Not even just them though. Like meeting him was really cool. I've been talking to these guys at least a year and a half, and for 2 years with you,
More than that.
longer than that, yeah. And to actually meet them in person is just so surreal. But then we also met so many other people, like Surfer Eddie, who's an amazing.
Oh man,
he's exactly the same as you see him in the videos.
He exudes passion and warmth about everything.
Like I
And
feel
he brings such a
comfortable around him.
positive energy. He feels like someone that I've known for years, who wants the best for me, who wants the best for everyone around him,
Yeah.
and is just so excited to be there.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Granny Toes, Maxwell.
Only good
Only
games.
good
I wanted to mention so 2 things. Only Good Games. I was gonna sleep in my car. That was my plan last night because I didn't pay for a hotel ticket. He accidentally bought a room with 2 beds, so he said, "Do you want to chill with me?" And I said, "Sure, thank you." But then also I wanted to mention Granny Toes because I stayed up a bit later than both of you.
Yeah.
But Granny Toes, yeah, Zach. We somehow started talking about moms and parents, and we got on this conversation about poop. And I won't go into detail because I don't know if that's public or not.
Was that at 2 a.m.?
Yeah,
It sounds like a 2
it
a.m.
was
discussion
really
to me.
funny though.
We've talked about the EU. What's next on the agenda? Go straight to extra.
Just a big shout out to Arthur Lowry. And,
Yeah, Arthur's
wow.
amazing.
It's been amazing.
We spent a lot of time with Arthur and his girlfriend, and I feel bad that she had to spend as much time with us as but,
Such a cool guy.
Great guy, and
Amazing guy.
an amazing guy, and just huge shout out to you, man.
Son of Luke is here.
I
Ryan.
can't believe I got to meet Son of Luke.
As soon as I
I
heard
feel
his
like
voice,
I
I was
was
like, I listen to his voice
Okay.
every month.
So, so I know Son of Luke. He's worked with us at Twin Sons. He was at Celebration Chicago with us. He's done a bunch of fundraisers. We did not know he was coming because we, in our Twin Sons chat, we were just like, hey, we have 2 extra tickets because Brian and I both bought tickets before we got officially invited, and then they gave us convention badges, so we had 2 extra tickets. We told everyone in the Twin Sons chat, hey, by the way, if you plan on coming on to LegendsCon, we have tickets for you. And yeah, he just nothing in the group chat at all. We're all yesterday. We all met yesterday, right? We're kind of sitting outside of a patio outside the convention hall, in Pavilion. And then I see him walk up, and I look over, and I see him coming up like kind of shyly, and I'm like, "What are you doing here?"
And Brian was like, I wondered if you do this.
Oh, David commented. He said, "Hi guys, that pre-event combo is cool."
Yeah, David was absolutely awesome to meet. Connections that we've known, and now connections that we're making.
So David was the one I think that Alex was referencing earlier, that he was just talking about Jason Solo, and then David comes in and just starts having a conversation with us.
Jason
which,
Solo.
Which again, like you wouldn't just get in the wild, right? Like talking about Jason Solo, like, I don't know, at my local Walmart or something, nobody would react. But like here at like LEGENDSCON, someone's like, I have an opinion on Jason
And
Solo.
it's like
Yeah.
an in-depth analysis.
I heard
he
you
goes
were
deep
speaking
into, like,
about Jason Solo.
By the way,
Yeah.
That's great.
so
And he
you know
just
what?
moseyed on up and
Yeah.
stayed for like 5 hours talking to you.
So since there's a lot of people in chat who are also here, I want to say, so tomorrow we need to like schedule a time when we can all be like just get a photo up of everyone that's here.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
we need
Like-
everyone here.
Like come by the twin. We'll figure it out. Come by the Twin Sons booth. We'll figure out a time. Maybe like an hour before the con closes. Maybe.
Yeah.
It's like so like
or maybe
5.
like right as it's like over, because then like do you have a little bit of time to like leave?
Well, we'll have to clean up a
Yeah,
little. But like because I don't think anything will be happening at 5. But like just
Yeah.
show up at the Twin so we can get a picture of like everyone that was there.
and there's
okay,
been
So why don't we just set it then, like 4 p.m. Let's all congregate at the Twin Sons booth. or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
4 p.m.
4 or
tomorrow.
5.
Let's go on at 4. Check
group
the
photo
check,
op.
There
check
might
the
be something
schedule.
going on at 5.
Check the schedule.
Yeah, check the schedule.
Yeah.
And some other people we didn't mention. Ken Palpatine was
Of course,
here.
yes.
Absolutely fantastic,
Both
phenomenal
Ken
guy.
Palpatines.
Both Ken Palpatines. We had Nick and Ben in the building.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And Thrawn cosplays, Kate Skywalker cosplay. Fun to see.
Nomi
Some
Sunrider.
Darth Revan.
We had a Tahiri. I posted that on the
Tahiri
Discord.
with
That
Tahiri.
Tahiri is great. The girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had an Imperial Night too, and I remember I was standing in line for I want to say I was standing in line for Joe, and I saw the Imperial Knight walk by. No, wait, it was Stover. I saw the Imperial Knight walk by, and I told him, "Hey, you know, there's a Cade Skywalker here." He's like, "Oh, cool." And then he walked away, and then I saw the Cade Skywalker turn the corner, and then he went back the other way. So I'm like, "No, I can." The 2 legacy characters.
Oh, that's too bad.
But then I saw they did meet up later, so I got a picture of the 2 of them.
That's great. The cosplays here have been amazing. They've been really, really good. I saw, I think, at least a couple Mara Jades.
Mm-hmm.
A couple
3 or 4.
Bastilas.
Yeah, Bastilas.
Yeah.
There was a girl, a Twi'lek, blue Twi'lek.
Right.
Mission. Was that
it
Mission?
Okay, yeah. That was an elaborate costume.
Yeah.
That looked like it had a lot of work put into it. But like, shout out to Nick and Palpatine, who like put his own
Red
blue,
glasses.
yeah, red glasses, but his own blue makeup on.
It was amazing.
Then there's that
Thrawn.
one chick you recognized as a Vima.
Nomi.
Or Nomi, sorry, Nomi, and she got so excited.
She was
to be
excited
recognized.
that-
She's very excited that someone recognized her as Nomi Summer. I was like, "What? You're
I
wearing
mean, I
an
knew she
iconic
wasn't Mara
costume?
Jade.
It's like an iconic costume that's known to like I don't know, like
Us.
20,000 people in the world." like maybe.
Yeah.
Something about that.
Also, Lance does say he hopes that we're on your time.
I am.
We are.
Lance.
Yeah.
Any Waru cosplays?
No.
No Waru. Well,
Okay,
other than
there's some action
Marcel.
Yeah. Okay. So.
My name is only Waru.
Yeah.
Here, let's get.
Call
Can
me
you get
teacher.
close to the?
Yeah. I guess.
What a shirt! Look at that.
Yeah, but
Beautiful.
it was funny because like everybody kept being like, "Has Abel Pena seen your shirt? Go show Abel your shirt." And then this one guy made me take a picture with him and Abel because like apparently they used to be like the Church of Waru on the first on a message board years ago. But Joe Bongiorno, when I was standing in line, I think behind Nazo, Servant Arc, who we forgot to
Another
mention.
great
Nazo,
guy.
right,
here.
Nazo.
Nazo and his
He's
dad,
been fantastic.
Nazo and his dad came to the con and just like amazingly nice people, and it was so great to meet him in person. But like I was standing behind Nazo, and Joe like points to my shirt. He's like, "That's a great shirt." I was like, "Thank you." So it's like when the people that like knew what it was, it's like if you know kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like the Joes and the Abels and like the deep cuts, right? Like the guys who knew like
What?
We need to start dropping Winbar references tomorrow just to see who picks up on it.
Well, actually, you'd be surprised how much they know. I mean, I'm not going to repeat on this stream, but we were talking to Jason. Maxwell was talking to Jason Fry about something that's like kind of an inside joke, and Jason knew all about it.
Yeah, it
It
was
was-
crazy.
It was crazy.
It showed that was a community that knows stuff like too. Like I feel like the authors are just like us, but at a higher level.
Yeah,
They all know each other. They would call each other, work on each other's projects, Tuckerize each other constantly.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. 2 other people we met who are absolutely incredible who helped to run the event and did terrific work on Supernatural
Right,
Encounters.
Patrick.
Patrick and
Kyle.
Kyle.
They're amazing.
What amazing people.
Yeah.
Kyle was just the most fun, energetic guy.
Great Kyle Katarn.
Kyle
costume.
Yeah, great
Cosplay.
cosplay.
Amazing.
And Patrick was just great to talk to. I met him the night I
Super
got
guy.
here, Friday
I,
night.
I was in a couple panels that Patrick was hosting and just did like an amazing job.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. He did one.
All of the people who hosted the panels did a really good job of, like, you know how there's that, like, do I talk too much? Do I keep a respectful, like, quiet, a distance and let them talk? Incredible balance in every panel I attended
Yeah.
for the people who were getting the authors to speak.
To give people like more perspective about how the panels work, I think each panel was about 45 minutes long. And for the moderated panels, Twin Sons wasn't moderated, they're the Wild West. They just moderated their own panel. But for the moderated panels with the authors and stuff like that, it was like 30 minutes of basically the moderator or the host asking them questions, and then it was 15 minutes opened to the audience to ask questions. But like that's not the end of the story, because these people like Sean Stewart or Matt Stover were walking around the convention floor just like, answering people's questions and taking pictures with them and that kind
We
of
saw
stuff.
Stackpole walk by twice. He was like the other side of the hall, and so like we couldn't like flag him down or anything. But it's like, oh look, there goes Stackpole.
Yeah, and
Hanley came by.
Abel GP just like bumped me on the shoulder as he walked by, like that, as he walked by.
One of the-
It felt really cool.
One of the,
Sorry.
one of the cool things with Sean Stewart and Matthew Stover, now that I was thinking about it, there's a part where somebody had asked them a question, and the host had asked them a question, and they turned it around and they went, well, we're here for them. So what is people that grew up with like the prequels and stuff, which film is like Star Wars to you? Or like what is this to you, like stuff? And so you had a couple different answers, and they were all interesting and stuff. And
The holiday special. is Star Wars to me.
yeah,
There's so many great.
I didn't get a chance to speak. I mean, I was gonna say like I grew up with prequels, but it's a lot of the thing of like, because one of the things that was brought up that I can't relate to as much because I was only 9 months old when it happened, but a lot of people talked about 9/11. And they talked about, Afghanistan and everything, how much that affects the Clone Wars as when that happened.
That did
Because
come up actually quite a bit, like in the Clone Wars narrative. Like
Yeah.
9/11 was like a big thing. I
Yeah.
think Matt
it
Stover
affected
said,
Star Trek too.
But-
yeah. Matt
yeah,
Stover said Traitor came out like a few months, I think, after, or not Matt Stover, someone else.
Yeah.
I think it was maybe Jason Fry said that he read Traitor like a few months after 9/11, and now like it really affected him.
yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so a lot of people were talking about like how that felt like the characters and the stories in the prequels are more relatable, but
Yeah.
that they aspire to be like Luke and stuff in the original. And I agree with that because I think like the prequels are more of like a cautionary tale of what not to be like. But also, I feel like I don't feel like Luke, who's kind of like this Superman, inherently good,
Yeah,
right? Because there's a darkness in all of us. I feel like Anakin is more what would probably happen if I got
More struggle.
superpowers.
Yeah.
Did
You know,
we
more
ask you
struggle.
your favorite part of the convention? Did you?
not yet, but
Oh,
you,
I'm so
you
sorry.
reminded me of something though.
Okay. Go off on that.
Oh my
then.
goodness! I just put my hand on MAGNENOALEX.
He's done that several times today.
Yeah, I can't believe it. It's surreal. It's a dream,
He
but-
hugged me earlier. It was great. I said that he was like a Padawan in Twin Sons.
Like, and
Maybe
what's
you're-
what's amazing is like, I'm more of an introvert typically.
Yeah.
But so like I
He
like
lives
shake
here, by the way.
shake hands, but like almost everyone, like it turned into a hug. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a great community. Like it's amazing, and I didn't know if it was gonna be like that or not. But it was amazing that it was. And when you talked about the prequels for a minute, it reminded me of something that Matthew Stover said about Obi-Wan that I thought was so good. He mentioned that Obi-Wan is just a decent human being that exudes kindness. His worldview is kind.
Spencer's library is here, by the way.
Spencer's
Also,
library,
Liv
wow.
is here from Noah's Discord, and Blue Pig is here.
Awesome.
Hello, guys.
Welcome,
And girls.
gals and girls.
Yeah,
yeah.
one gal.
And so, yeah, Stover mentioned this, and like it's obvious, but sometimes it's refreshing to hear someone like just break down who a character was. And after meeting Joe, I couldn't help but thinking that how Matthew Stover was describing Obi-Wan was how I would describe Joe after meeting him.
Yeah.
He just
Kind.
seems so decent and kind and wants the best for everyone around him.
There was a panel at the end of the day that we attended, basically where like it was like a bunch of authors gushing over like it was
Geeking out.
and
Yeah.
it was Daniel Keys Moran, who's amazing and wrote Boba Fett: Last Man
Yeah.
Standing. He was there with
He
Matt
was great.
Stover. It was Jason Fry, it was Michael Kogi, and it was Abel Pena. And it was funny because at one point they were all gushing or like geeking out about Matt Stover.
Yeah, and the four of them were going back and forth.
Yeah.
It was like not like empty silence. They were like playing off each
Yeah,
other.
they had really
like,
good chemistry.
oh, it was so good. Genius panel.
Yeah, Daniel Keys Moran, he said that Stover's like his favorite person, like his favorite author. He's
Good
good
buddies.
friends with him,
Yeah.
good buddies. He says he's read every single one of his books, even outside of Star Wars, especially Acts of Cain, which
Yeah,
for
he
Grey
said
Home.
Heroes Die, he read it like the Bible. He said.
Yeah,
That's
but,
what he said. Yeah.
but he said that Stover hasn't been doing too great the past couple of years, but he's finally doing better and he's ready to write again. So
And he said that like the reason he was here was to see that, and it was bringing him so much joy
Yeah.
to see him in his element.
When I asked Matt, I managed to flag him down and ask him about the next Acts of Cain book, and he corrected me. He's like, well, not necessarily an Acts of Cain book, but like, along those lines or in that vein or in that universe. Like he was very tight. He's like, I can't tell you any more about it. You just have to wait. And I was like, you know what? Fair enough. I can't wait. So, but he's writing again. So that's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe one day he'll write Star Wars again.
So when I talked to Stover, I remember telling him about how much I loved how he ended the Revenge of the Sith novel with the quote of like, the dark is all this thing, but like it has a weakness. One candle can hold it back. Love is more than a candle. Love can ignite the stars, and how like that's such a beautiful way of ending the book because Revenge of the Sith is a very dark book, but it ends with like this little glimmer of hope, and like which leads perfectly into New Hope. And he said, yeah, that's like in his mind, that's like the epitome of Star Wars. It's like that hope.
Yes, he gets it. He gets it.
he also talked about, since you talked about that, Mindor. Now, when he wrote Mindor, this might have been during the Clone Wars.
No, it wasn't. It was because I heard this too.
Okay, well, but he talked about he was in a very dark place.
Yeah, that was in his
Right.
his one. I
Yeah,
think,
when he talked about, when he was writing Mindor, and so what Luke has to figure out by the end of it is kind of what Stover figured out to keep him going, because he was in a very dark place, and so Luke found light amongst all the darkness within that book, and it's a lot like how Stover found light.
Well, he said Luke. It's like
Yeah.
you can't find the light, be the light.
Be the light. Yeah.
Right. There you go.
To speak more on Shadows of Mindor, in the Geeking Out section, Pena
We did
written
meet
the
Maxwell.
article where he'd written the article that expanded on Shadowspawn / Chronal / Black Hole
Yeah.
from the original comics. He said he'd expanded it in an article, and then when he read Shadows of Mindor, he was like, "Oh wow, Stover went there."
He's like, we're doing this. I guess we're doing
yeah,
this.
yeah, exactly. It was amazing.
So, what's up? Comments?
Oh no, I was just saying that Cody Sparks said, "Did you guys meet Maxwell?" I'm like, yeah, we did.
Yep.
Yeah,
Max
I'll
is
say
terrific.
Stackpole. He's a legend. Honestly,
He went up, raised his hand, went to Stackpole, and said, "What? How did he phrase it?"
He said,
"Can Solonians?"
no,
And
but that's not how he said it. He
Okay.
said, "Ever since I've read Back to War, I've been wondering." That's how he phrased it. Ever since I've read it, I've been wondering.
yeah, finish it. I don't know if I can.
I'm wondering if humans and Solonians
Can have
can
kids.
have kids.
And Stackpole starts laughing.
Stackpole
Before I
starts
answer.
laughing.
He answered
knew.
honestly.
He
said,
knew.
He said no. No, they cannot. He's like,
But-
you don't see any furry half humans.
And he
running
said
around.
there's a
What a
lack
laugh.
of interspecies characters in the expanded universe, and he was like, "So my guess would be no," but it was amazing.
Yeah, Maxwell, what a legend.
Legend.
He just
We had to know, and he
asking the tough
delivered.
questions.
Yeah, asking the right
blushed.
questions. But the entire room erupted into laughter. It wasn't just us.
Yeah,
Everyone else
Well,
there,
the whole-
strangers, were laughing.
The whole panel
They
got
knew.
recorded, so you can see it later.
yeah.
But the people in the room around us are now just realizing they were laughing too, most of them. So they understood what Maxwell was talking about.
Unless it gets edited out, you can see it for yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know if I should even know.
I want to, This is
That's
good
gonna be
pizza.
great if they have to like add bleeps to the
It is.
Stover.
Well, yeah. Matt Stover is not a man who minces words.
No,
Yes.
he's pretty direct.
And then that's funny because that's like when you read like Harry Michelson's Acts of Cain series, right? Cain, like he's also very foul mouthed, and so it's like, yeah, I think like he's There's a bit of Matt Stover in him.
Yeah.
We did not get a chance to ask about the particle shield / repulsor lift question to Stover.
That was Ghostfish who asked.
I don't even know what that is.
I wanted to ask Stover specifically about the Sorcerers of Rand because Wes wanted me to ask, and I just like they're just.
What's that
no
question? It's
opportunity.
I forget what type of shield it is, but I know there's a type of shield that repulsor lift vehicles can't go through.
Okay.
It interferes with them. Maybe that's what they're talking about.
From X-Wing.
I think it's from one of the video games.
Yeah.
One of the video.
I think it's what
games.
Ghostfish was
There,
hoping that
there
we'd
was
ask.
there was some technical discussion where Mike Stackpole said he got into I guess he got into a back and forth about X-wings not being able to do a barrel roll in space.
Yep.
And that was funny. I thought that was funny. But I asked Mike Stackpole about the Krytos trap because there's a trial that happens in that book, and he said that it was always the plan to have the trial in the Krytos trap, but the OJ trial was happening at the same time, and so they kind of had to scale back the trial a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gave like an X.
Oh no, sorry. I saw what Scott Johnson asked, and I was trying to avoid anything necessarily. So he asked. Sorry, I didn't interrupt you.
No, go for it.
He asked, was there anything about continuation in any of the panels?
There was from us.
There was from us.
Marcel mentioned it to Stackpole. I mentioned it to Stradley.
There was
I
no
remember
panel
others
about
us,
it.
Yeah.
There's no panel about continuing legends. There was.
There will be next year.
What was the panel called about
Continuing Adventures.
Continuing Adventures of Legends, which we thought might be something about the continuation of the expanded universe. But it's more about. I mean, I didn't go to it, but from what the description said, it's
How
basically
it lives
talking
on.
about, not to be negative, it's talking about, like Thrawn or Ahsoka or other elements of Legends being introduced into canon, and how it's, keeping the EU alive in a sense by introducing it into the new. But that's not obviously what we are here for. But yeah, so that's what that was about. But yeah, I also have been trying to make a plan. I've only got like 3 to 4 people right now, and the audio is really bad.
You'll have more time tomorrow.
True, and I don't have a professional camera or mic, so it's kind of bad. I might still upload it anyway, just because you can still kind of hear it.
Who was the
But I
last
was-
guy that you did? What was his name again?
Richard.
Richard.
Yeah, it was
The
the
guy
guy.
who talked to us at the end.
Yeah, but
What a great guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I
this
was-
is another person.
Yeah.
Richard and David are 2 people I've never met before.
Yeah.
And instantly there is a connection.
Yeah.
Instantly, I'm talking about, like, Marcel's talking about devil worlds, and they're nodding their head
Yeah.
knowingly. Like, stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's insane.
But yes.
Like, only here. It's been amazing. Like, instantly, there's just, I feel a connection, a kindred
Yeah.
spirit to these
Yeah.
people.
I did tell Mike Stackpole. I said we would love to see you write more stories in the Legends continuity, and he said he would like to as well.
Yeah, I just have been asking
Pick it up
people who
from
I
Austin
can. So
University.
far, it's only been people I know outside of like 1 or outside of 2 people. It's just been people I know. But I've wanted to ask random people at LegendsCon that consent, just 3 questions, because I wanted to raise awareness for the EU movement or EU goal, whatever you want to call it. If movement for some reason offends you. Sorry, I get a little. Okay, but so I had 3 questions for people that were willing. It was just, what's one of your favorite things in the expanded universe? Simple, It can be very hard sometimes for people. But and then, if the EU were to be continued, what would you like to see? And what would be your pitch to Lucasfilm? That's what I've been trying to ask as many people as I can. So even if the con isn't necessarily trying to make that an essential goal,
As fans can.
I'm trying to do that myself.
And I've seen a lot of positive reaffirmation that we're not the only ones who like that.
for sure.
Yeah.
There's also a ton of newbies here. We had a Twinson spam. So we had a survey going of like people. We were asking people to recommend like what are 3 books from different series you'd recommend to a newbie. There were a lot of people that came up. Like I want to say 5 or 6 people that like were still new to it that are at LegendsCon for. Most of the time they were like with someone else, but like who like did know, but it was still like.
Yeah.
And I remember Joe was talking about too. It's like how many like young people that like weren't actually old enough to like be consuming EU media back when it was still coming out, and are like now this like post decanonization like generation that are fans and that are here at LegendsCon. So
And there's people of all like different areas of the fandom. Like Another awesome person that we got to talk to today is Granny the Toe Lord, Zach.
Yeah.
His friend came.
Right.
The Democratic Kombucha. I can't remember his name at the moment, but he was here. He loves the video games.
Yeah.
So he's walking around with a Republic Commando box. Did he get Stover to just sign?
Stover to sign it.
He just got Stover to sign it.
Stover said he bought like an Xbox or something just to play it.
Stover played Republic Commando.
Or maybe Democratic Kombucha bought it. I was kind of unclear who bought the Xbox, but in
Yeah.
any event.
Also, Scott Johnson asks, how many people there total would you estimate?
350 to
About
400.
300 something,
Yeah.
400. Yeah.
It wasn't overwhelming.
I
But
thought there
Yeah.
were more people than I was expecting.
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
but the lines for the popular offers was
Sorry.
like they were long.
Yeah. It took me an hour to see Stackable.
I invited him. He said he's going to call back in 10 minutes.
I got to Stover pretty early. I didn't see how long the line was after I got there. But even Stover, I was like, there's like maybe 10, 15 people ahead of me, and like it took like 20 minutes for me to see him. So
Yeah.
it wasn't like we were getting rushed either. So like people were had time.
And
to,
the
like,
nice
ask
thing
questions.
the nice thing about that is that all these guys are signing tomorrow. as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
So
I missed Stover the first go around, so for
I
Gray
think
one
Daniel
watching
Keith
this,
ran it. I
I'm
don't
going to
think
get
he
you
has
tomorrow. Yeah,
Cody,
he left.
as to your question about supernatural encounters and its canonicity, well, it is. But secondly, sorry, I'm not gonna deal with that right now.
Love
I'm
you,
trying to have
Alex.
fun. But secondly, any questions to ask Joe about that, if it's really necessary, can be addressed at the panel tomorrow. But I feel like that would really ruin the vibe.
If someone asked that,
So
if someone
I'm
had
gonna
the nerves to ask
hurt
that,
myself.
I would. Someone would have to restrain me from going across.
No, I was, actually trying to enjoy Joe's company, not do that.
what I'll say is this about the canonicity of supernatural encounters: is that Joe put everything out there, and it's for people to decide for themselves.
And the
That's
great
it.
thing
That's
about
as simple as it is.
the great thing that
He
Joe
said he can't control other people's opinions, so they're going to believe what they want to believe.
The
You can't do
great
anything
thing that
about it.
Joe said is he doesn't care.
Yeah.
If you think it is,
Great.
then roll with it.
Nor
if
do
you don't
I.
think it is, I don't care. So he
always
has a
have
great view on it. And something
Yeah.
I mentioned is it's really funny that the Out of Universe Supernatural Encounters book is what I said to him.
Right.
Has
It's
had
really,
this controversy garnered around it
Mhm.
that is reflected in the in-universe book.
Yeah, I already
with
said that
all
on
those
his
texts.
Discord server a
'Cause-
week ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But he said that wasn't intentional, but he said it's funny
it's
how it's
divine
like that.
providence. It's the
it
maker of
creates a
Star
mysterious
Wars.
aura around it still.
But no, he. I mean, when we were talking to him, because he's great, I was talking to us for a long time. He was just saying, I want as much to be able to, fit and make sense within the EU as possible. So, and I was like, yeah. So,
Talk about minimum versus maximum or whatever. What's
that was
Minimal
that was
versus
Abel
maximal.
GP.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
so,
Joe said, he ascribes to it as well.
Yeah, so Abel GP talked about having a minimalist approach where you kind of just like exclude things, right? Like maybe you only like the 6 films. He didn't say this, but
Or if you're
another-
Zahn, maybe you exclude Dark Empire from
Yeah.
anything. you ever
or
read.
maybe all these people complaining about after unifying force or whatever, but there was people for years that said my story ends in Hand of Thrawn. NGO doesn't happen. It's too dark.
Yeah.
Right? And you'd be infuriated with those people because you like New Jedi Order. But so it's a similar thing, but he's a maximalist. He wants to include as much as possible. That's what
Yeah.
Abel G. Pena talked about was
And
including
Abel GP has been a master of that. He's
Yeah.
created this like
Skywalkers.
spreadsheet of
making
this
sense of that.
interconnected web tapestry. It's connected everything together. One amazing interaction I had that I wanted to mention when I was talking to Michael Kogi, he was mentioning how he'd been in high school when he'd submitted it, and he was thrilled that he got it in the Adventure Journal because he loved going through the Adventure Journals. As he was flipping through it, he would see articles that weren't his as he was flipping through it, and he'd go, "Oh, that's such a good one." Then he'd start talking about it, and he also mentioned that his entire paycheck that he got from that first published story went to him buying 10 copies of it that he could keep or like give out to friends and stuff like that, which was absolutely amazing.
What a great
And
guy.
Yeah.
he's really impressed by him.
super good guy. And he mentioned how excited he was that Michael Stackpole took the Back to War and took all that information from his little short story in the Adventure Journal.
Yeah, he was also talking about how he developed, I guess, some source book or source guide on
Galandrum's fantastic technology.
right in for West End Games, and then while he was reading, I guess he was reading later on like Vision of the Future or something like that. and one of the weapons that he developed like showed up there. So he's like, well, Zahn really did his homework because he used like the Western game source books and materials to really flesh out the universe. So that was kind of cool. Yeah. Oh, I just kind of dunked on Zahn for Dark Empire, so I want to say something nice about Zahn.
Speaking of the Western Game stuff, when Barbara Hambley walked by the Twinson's booth, I asked her, it's like, hey, so I know like, Lucasfilm gave you a whole bunch of Western Game source books for when you're writing, right? Are you aware of how much those go for online these days?
What did she say?
She said, like, no. It's like, oh no, I don't think I even have those anymore. Or they're like stuck away in a box somewhere. And it's like, yeah.
All right, I know whose attic I'm rating.
Barbara Hambley. I think I'll still stick to William Dietz's attic. I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna raid your attic.
Or the guy who wrote Nightfall.
Friedman.
Yeah.
Friedman.
Michael Jan
John
Friedman.
Juan. Yeah.
Jan Juan.
Young one.
But another great person was I always get his name mixed up, but the guy who wrote Last Man Standing.
Oh, Daniel Keys Moran.
Yeah.
Daniel Keys Moran. What a terrific guy. He was leaving in 15 minutes to go eat, and he took the time to take a photo with all of us, to sign all of our books at the end of the panel, to talk with us. I got to ask him.
I asked him. I was like, do you have some time for photos with us? And he's like, I'm here as long as you need me.
Yeah.
I was like,
terrific guy.
At the Able GP, you guys came at like the last 10
Yeah,
15.
we were
So,
in line for
Daniel Keys
Sackville.
Moran was just casually sitting in the front watching it for like a while, and then like Able GP would be like, yeah, he was a huge inspiration. She's like, But, like there's a
Amazing.
And then Joe
They all know each
Bongiorno just walked in the back and sat there for a little bit, so he had to leave to go do something.
Amazing.
I was like,
They all love and respect each other, and
And
it's
he's
so
like-
cool to see. There's
Yeah.
a camaraderie between them.
And Joe's like,
is
he's a
amazing.
good friend, and I haven't actually got a chance to say hi to him today, and I don't know if I get to. But also, there's like some cocktail party going on right now. We're too based. We needed to do this instead.
Yeah.
So
We need to
that's
let
another
the
thing
people
going
You
on.
know
also
what's
didn't
going
want to
on.
spend $75 on a.
That too.
when they were setting it up, it looked really nice.
It did look really
It
nice,
looks
though.
really
It
nice,
looks really
yeah.
cool.
Yeah, they kicked us. They kicked us out of the hotel. The convention hall because they needed to lock up. So we walked out, and we just walked out to like the area that the cocktail party was happening, and we talked there for like another 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's why I
And
was
they
talking
kicked
to
us out
Joe
of
for a
there.
while.
I was
Yeah.
like, are they gonna like kick me out of here anytime soon? And then
I
they
know.
finally did.
That's what we were talking about too. It's like we were talking with Jason Pride. It's like we were like, they're probably gonna kick us out of here. So let's just keep talking.
Noah asked a good thing. So I did not ask. I think Linda actually asked. She asked if she was aware of her fate in Fate of the Jedi, and she said, yes, she was, because she only read the book once and she couldn't touch it again, because I don't know if it was really the decision to kill her.
Hambley was aware.
Hamley was aware of that because she read the book, but she hasn't read it since because it, I don't know if the death necessarily upset her more just in the fact that she didn't be able to touch the character since all the way back when, and then she just was dead. So I think that was the biggest thing for her.
I mean, yeah, I only intend to refit a Jedi once too. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not that
Whoa!
good.
So,
But yeah,
based Hambley.
she has a lot of kind of resentment about the whole situation with Calista.
Best
Did that
thing-
really like kind of shine through during her?
When she just kind of said so. I mean, she seemed fine, like she seemed nice. She wasn't
she
like
was
angry,
super nice.
but she just said like,
Super
yeah,
sweet.
she wasn't really happy about some of the decisions made there. And she also said she's not a big fan of Mara, but she doesn't know if that's due to the fact that she's actually a bad character or just because she's a heavy bias because
Yeah.
of what happened with everything.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah,
The thing about Miss Hambley, she was so earnest.
yeah, she
Like,
was.
I've never been to a con before. I've never met any author before, so she was the first author I met. And as
Saw
I'm
that
talking
something.
about what I liked, about the book, stuff like that, she just has such an earnest look in her eyes as she's listening, and she thanks me like for enjoying her book. And I'm like, no, thank you, for writing these, for putting in the work for us. And when I mentioned Murder in Slush Time and she was trying to recall the name of the Adventure Journal story, her eyes lit up about Murder in Slush Time, which was just amazing. But the most iconic thing about it was that she showed up just like the pictures of the robes with the staff.
Mhm.
When I saw that, I was like,
crazy.
I was like, no way, this is insane.
I was like, I know who that is. That's Barbara Hambley.
Yeah.
So she said the reason she likes it, she said this while she had the Twinsons booth, is because it's a super easy one to go to, but it's also like it's basically just like a bathrobe. So it's like if you have to go to the bathroom, it's like very easy to get in to change in and out of.
Yeah.
I'll just answer this real quick. None of us did the speed dating. No, that wasn't our.
Why would I do this speed dating?
There was speed.
He's
dating.
married.
Wait, where was the speed?
I don't
I
know.
don't know.
That might be-
honestly.
I don't
was
know
it,
if that's
was it
tomorrow
even,
or
was
not.
it even still part of
Did it
this
happen?
convention?
I don't
There's
know.
gonna be
Did it
a
get banished
tomorrow.
to the
There's gonna
other
be a West End Games like adventure that someone's gonna run.
Yeah.
Which
It's a
sounds-
one shot that's only going to take 3 hours somehow.
New EU.
That
New
must be
EU?
that's must be the most.
I would
hopeful
do that,
thing
but I have
I've
too many
ever heard.
panels.
Okay,
I'll have to go
unless it's pre-made characters, because there's no way you can do a character creation session
Yeah.
0 and a one
I
shot
don't
in 3
even know
hours.
how many people are going to show up. Too. Also, New EU.
Well, it depends.
Who knows?
Should
Should
we
we consider it?
Right at the scenario,
Right.
potentially.
If there's a pamphlet, someone's got to get a copy for Chris Nelson.
Today we'll be reading.
Today we'll be reading.
The RPG.
Yeah, the RPG. from
Legends.
LEGENDSCON. Slav asked a question earlier about whether it feels corporate or old school. I don't know that I know the difference. I mean, this is a much smaller con than the ones that I've ever been to, but I thought it went well. I thought it was well run.
It was really personable too, since it was smaller. You
Yeah.
got to really have more time to interact with the authors and the other people.
Yeah.
And since it's small, you'd recognize people going back and forth.
Everybody was just happy to be there.
Yeah, honestly.
Like your eye, like my eyes would light up whenever I'd see someone I know walking past me, going to something. You know, always said hi as you pass. Like just an amazing
It
time,
felt like a friends, like a reunion of friends, even though like we're
like a high school
Yeah.
reunion, except not awkward.
But we never met each other before.
Well, exactly. You know what I mean? Like we never met each other before, but it felt like I've
Yeah.
known you for so long, that kind of thing. So there
Yeah.
was a lot of that going on, and just people like there was like one guy came up, he's like, "Excuse me, are you Quinlan Voss?" It's a Brennan.
Yeah, that's great. No one
Yeah.
does me. But I'm also like, well, almost like.
Amazing.
Have you answered the question
Oh,
yet that Slav asked for you?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I wanted to
Is that what
ask,
we're just talking about? Sorry.
how many books did we cover? How many books were donated?
Yes, we got
Yeah.
32 so far. We'll probably get more tomorrow. I don't know how much more. I know at a Celebration Orlando we got 61 at the whole event, and at Chicago we got 99. I want to say.
That was an epic flip.
Oh, thank you.
Also we do have a ongoing fundraiser
Yeah,
right now on the
I was about to say
website.
that. And you're gonna match it, right?
Yes. So someone's already donated $50. So if the next, I was matching from the time of the panel. The next $100 that gets donated, someone's already donated 50 of that. So like we only need 50 more to hit the goal. But that match will still only bring us to 50%. So if you go to twin-sons.net/donate, you can donate. Any bit helps. They're going to 2 hospitals in Toronto, and this guy right here is going to be bringing books. And then if you're at LegendsCon and you do donate, like you donate tonight or something, come by the booth, tell us, we'll donate. We'll be able to check like your name because we can see that on our end, and we'll get you a lanyard.
I got my lanyard today. So I donated a
Ooh,
copy of
official Twin Sons.
I donated a copy of Revenge of the Sith, and it was worth it.
Just gonna buy another copy. So
We had someone donate a new Dawn.
What?
We had someone donate a new Dawn to us.
I mean, it's John Jackson Miller.
And we had someone donate book 1 of Jedi Apprentice.
Wow. Was it new or like
the
nice?
No, it was
Rising
amazing.
Force.
Okay.
It was Rising Force. It was a
Amazing.
little beat up, but it's book 1 of Jedi Apprentice. I mean,
Like, I can't even imagine parting with my book 1 of Jedi Apprentice.
So a couple people been asking, but mainly Noah started it specifically for Dylan. Have you brought up the ELC misprints to Stackpole, author of Iron Fist?
no, I haven't
That's
told
funny.
him that.
Oh, we've got.
I didn't have the heart to ask him because so they have the Essential Legends collections. Basically, for all the authors that are there at the bookstore, they have their books, and for all the books that have an Essential Legends collection printing, they have the ELC printing, and the ones that don't have one, they have the normal mass market paperback. So I actually went and checked their copies of Wedge's Gamble, and yes, their copies of Wedge's Gamble. Also, all the 3 that I flipped through all have the misprint of having Drew Karpyshyn's
Another 10 minutes.
of Drew
He
Karpyshyn's
doesn't have to
about
do
the author
shit.
section. But I didn't tell Stackpole that. I didn't have the heart to tell him.
One of my favorite moments was
Right.
I was standing right beside another one. Oh, I'll get to the best part of it. Which spoilers will be the same as Alex's cop-out answer. But before I get to that, Granny Toe Zach brought his Jedi Search Stephen King misprint. As soon as he pulled that out, I was like, my hands were shaking, and I was like, can I see this holy grail?
He showed it to Stackpole and Stewart, Sean Stewart.
Yeah,
and Mike Stackpole, and they
exactly.
loved it.
They
got a kick out of it.
erupted into
Yeah.
laughter. It was amazing. Like Stackpole laid eyes on Stephen King, Jedi Search, and just said, "That's hilarious." And he was like, "Does Kevin know?"
Yeah, Stackpole kept asking if Kevin knew about it. So.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. What else?
Yeah.
I don't know. What else? There's probably more that we're forgetting because it was
Yeah.
a long day.
Yeah,
We'll figure it out.
We didn't eat till just now.
yeah.
Saw us doing
That was the first time I ate today.
So we ate on stream because we're starving.
Didn't-
Cried.
I didn't
Dylan
drink
already
or
ate
eat or go to the bathroom. I just
You only ate some peanuts today. That's
I
it.
went to CVS before I drove over because I'm like an hour away, and I bought a thing of peanuts that I'm just like, here, we'll have this to snack on throughout the panel
Yeah.
or throughout the con.
Yeah.
Did the Twin Sons table get some good engagement from new people?
Yeah, it was a lot of people. Like again, you knew us.
Maxine says hi. She says, "What a crossover this is."
Oh,
It was so weird because I had like 4 or 5 people that I didn't even recognize, obviously. It even said, it's like, hey, I know you don't know me, but I watch your stuff all, or like, it's like, I'm just a guy, okay? Look, I'm no one special, all right? Come here to see Stover and Stackpole, not me.
What do you mean? You're
You
wrong.
have a couch.
You have a couch
Stackpole
full
and
of
Stover
piss.
don't have a couch.
No, but it's
just
really
called that.
Granny
it's
Toes,
really cool to
Zach,
meet you.
Zach Granny Toes told me he put down an offer to you, like, if you ever want to sell it, call me.
No,
That's what he said.
no, it's not
Too
getting sold.
iconic?
It is getting thrown out as soon as I move out of that apartment.
Oh,
No, but it,
oh no.
Can we have like a live stream
No.
for its wake or something
No.
like that?
But that-
chuck it in the trash.
This is what Joe Bongiorno's been doing. He's getting pieces of EU history that are lost and bringing them back. We can't lose this piece of EU history.
It's not a piece of history.
Yes,
It's just the couch I sit on.
It was like a Noah server. He's like, you guys are all weirdly obsessed with my couch.
You created a cult around it.
Yeah, well, that's how these things happen.
That's how, I mean, Waru's yellow and got a cult. Your couch is yellow, got a cult.
There we go.
Coincidence?
I'm done with it.
Any other
I
comments?
figured out how to help this a bit. Push it back more.
Nice.
Noah says, "Where is the? Hold on. Where is the piss couch, Dylan? Dylan looks so incompetent, or without it, or sorry, so not incompetent, incomplete. That's my bad.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's like an hour south of here.
It's right here, the piss couch. It's on this
Yeah.
shirt over here.
Waru.
yeah.
Maybe Waru
See,
was the
what I
couch
can't
all
wait
along.
for is I can't wait for when I
The
throw out
couch is
the couch and don't
Waru.
tell anyone, and then I just appear on the screen for the first time without it.
That's Scott Johnson says you should auction the couch at the con, at the next con.
You know, they might go for that, honestly.
No.
I'm just
Scott
kidding.
says I would have raised at least 1,000.
Yeah.
But there was no extra coon sightings from what I saw. Did you see any XR coons?
No.
No,
No,
extra
no.
coons.
But Abel Pena mentioned him as like a couple times. Yeah.
I heard about the cosplays tomorrow. There's going to be a Talon card.
Thank you,
Talon
Scott.
Karad.
That's right.
Talon Card.
Talon Karad.
Talon Karan.
Talani Vergeri. You know him. And also
Thank you.
the character
Thank you
from
very much.
Empire at War is going to be there as well. Tiber Zahn. Someone's cosplaying Tiber Zahn. The long white hair, the scarred nose, that guy.
Yeah, yeah.
So some cool, like, deep cut expanded universe
What is
cosplays.
No. Now we are mainly waiting because we're supposed to have a guest. I don't know if he's gonna pop up.
We don't know.
He said he was going to,
Yeah,
but you know how he is.
Yeah.
You can
Nice.
guess.
I don't know. Yeah, no. He sent that like an hour ago. Whoops.
Oh,
Oh, if Brian comes up, that would be great.
it's like I just looked at my phone too. But yeah, no, that it was a busy first day, and hopefully tomorrow will be less busy.
Yeah.
So we can just kind of focus more on talking to people. 'Cause
Yeah.
Today there was just like not really a ton of time to really like get into deep conversations with people. because you're being like rushed from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next.
And at the same time, in the lines waiting, there was a facilitation of conversation,
Yes.
and all of it was incredibly positive and
Yes.
fun. While albeit surface level, there's been some, and the Friday night before, sat
Well,
for 6 hours talking
Yeah,
with these
I mean,
people.
like, I just like,
Amazing.
sat outside, like, you know, like Brian and Dylan were there. They filtered out, and then like, you know, you and me were out there, and then Alex joined us.
Only
and-
Good Games.
Yeah, Only Good Games was there.
Arthur was there for the
Arthur.
longest time.
Zach.
Yeah.
And then this morning,
Son of Luke.
Son of Luke was there, and then this morning there were like a bunch of ants at that table, likely because of the pizza that was ordered there last night.
Yeah.
But it was really cool to just hang out and like talk for 6 hours. And it's like, you know, I think Matt Wilkins tells a story about him and Dylan, like what shared a
And
car-
Jeremy, yeah.
and Jeremy for like what 13 hours and just
Yeah.
talked about the EU the entire time. And like you're listening to that stream, you're like, how could that possibly be? And then like 6 hours yesterday just passed like that.
10 minutes. It felt like
yeah.
10 minutes.
I was
Yeah.
like, okay, that's how it could possibly be.
Yeah.
So Scott asked, did any of you buy anything besides the Stackpole retrospective book? And I know you have something you want to mention.
Stackpole retros.
It was Abel G. Pena.
Oh, Abel G.
Yeah, it was
Pena,
Abel
sorry.
G. Pena's, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The booth right next to us has comics, which, by the way, they have a lot of They have them in long boxes, so I couldn't see everything that they had. But like, go there because there's some canon comics as well, but they do have some Legends
Are they
comics.
pretty cheap?
So I got issue 1 of Union for $10.
That's
That's pretty
great.
good.
Yeah, Maxine might be interested in this because she collects figures. But I bought Jaina Soul Black Series. And,
Right over there.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah, and a Revan Black Series. I don't know where they are.
It was like five minutes
They're
after
behind-
walking
they're
into the
behind-
con.
behind
Mars,
the table. Like,
Oh.
5 minutes
On the
after
table.
like
Behind-
walking into
yeah.
the exhibit in the con,
on the table.
Marcel just comes up behind me, taps my shoulder, and he's like holding them up. He's like, "Look what I got."
Okay.
Around the
Oh, I
corner.
see.
It was amazing.
Sorry, I'm done.
Yeah.
Okay. I got it.
But yeah, like five minutes into going in, you're like tapping me on the shoulder, like, "Look what I got." It was amazing.
I know.
We got
We're-
Revan.
Yeah, Revan for the Revanchist. Even though I actually don't really care for Darth Revan as a character. But whatever, cool name, cool costume.
Then Jaina.
That one's amazing.
If
That one's
the lighting
pretty
would not be
valuable
so
now.
bad.
It's hard to find.
That one goes for quite a bit.
I just,
more than
I have a Mara Jade figure that I got recently, Black Series. I got the Bastila
Yep.
figure, and I got
Did you got Malikin as well?
Malik in as well.
Yeah.
And I just, there's not like a ton of EU Black Series figures, and so I feel like it would be easy enough to collect them all. Only Good Games, I think, got, or maybe it wasn't Only Good Games. Someone got Carnor. Oh, maybe it was Ken Palpatine actually got Carnor Jax.
And
Carnor
yeah.
Jax.
yeah.
I showed Stradley it. It's like, I just wanted to show you this.
What did he say?
So he just kind of laughed and it's like, oh what?
Yeah, so they
That's
call it Carnor Jax, but it's actually Kirkanos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the authors were amazing. Like all of them, like personalized messages. Would listen to what you're saying. Would converse back intelligently. All of them seemed happy to be there.
Yeah,
No one
yeah.
seemed like they were just doing this out of commitment.
Yeah, they were very nice.
Everyone seemed like they were here for the fans, which was absolutely incredible and just what you want. Michael Kogi was like listening to me, and he was like hearing that like I would want to write like the article he signed. He was my age when he had it published, which sounds
Yeah, that's
insane.
crazy. He was such a nice guy, Michael Kogi. Like,
And when
shout
he-
out to that dude, man.
Absolutely. And when he signed it, he underlined at the bottom "right,"
Yeah.
which was just amazing. Like going above and beyond, right?
Yeah, and you know what? The other nice thing that a lot of the authors did was they would sign personalized messages.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't just like here's my signature, or even like Alex, thank you for coming. Like here's my signature. It'd be like Alex, like, and it, like Stover would put like a quote from him.
Yeah, I remember he got to with mine. He got to Shadows of Mendor, and he's just like, this is the last one. He's like, I can't think of a quote off the top of my head from this book, and he had to look through it, and I'm just like, shoot, what is a good quote from Shadows of Mendor?
Sean Stewart had this funny thing where he said that he forgot what happened in Yoda Dark Rendezvous.
Yes.
Yeah, he was reading it in I guess preparation for the con or whatever, and then he was reading the part where Scout is in the tournament and facing off against like all the other Padawans and and he's like, I don't know how this is gonna turn out. Who's gonna win? So he didn't even remember who won the tournament that he wrote.
Well, he wrote it like 20 years ago.
For sure.
I remember.
What are you doing?
So it was
Soaking all day with
Stackpool and Sean Stewart who were like basically at the same signing it. What everyone did is like they would go to Sean Stewart first because like he only had the one book to sign pretty much.
Yeah.
And then everyone else, and then they scoot over to like Stover because
Or Stackpole.
Stackpool, sorry, because they had like a whole bunch of Stackpool things. But I remember he was just like the person before me asked like something about like advice on writing. He's like, well, we'll talk to him because he has like he seems to be going. He's got like he seems to have it down. And Stackpole says like, yeah, like 25 years ago.
Yeah, I was really glad to meet Mike Stackpole. He's like a top 3 author for me in the EU.
So Slav wants to know who your favorite author was to meet specifically.
Oh, that is so hard. That is so hard.
Me?
No,
Oh,
him
Brennan.
specifically.
Yours was
Because I already said
yours
Sean
was
Stewart. Yeah.
What about yours first?
Stover's low hanging fruits. He's amazing too, though.
Yeah,
Silver's the obvious answer, right?
Stover's the boring correct answer.
The boring correct answer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sean Stewart's my answer for sure.
I didn't meet Stover because I went to the Abelgpenia thing while they were waiting in line. So, but he had an amazing energy on the panel, though.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I Abelgpenia was great. You know, I didn't talk to him
Yeah.
too much. I was listening to Marcel talk to him. I do that a lot. Like I know I seem like
I was
talk
trying
a
to
lot.
plumb him
on,
for secrets. I was
No,
like,
yeah.
tell me everything about the
yeah, I
Jedi
know.
Graxian.
Yeah, I know I talk a lot like on the streams and stuff, but I'm pretty quiet otherwise. But you know, so I was just kind of listening in, and I listened to Sean Stewart and him talk for a bit, and that was really cool. And the only one I actively talked to was Joe, and as I said before, it was absolutely wonderful. So
What? Did you figure out who your favorite author was?
Oh, I was agreeing with Alex there, but can I pick 3, please?
fine sheet, Holy Trinity.
You're like Matt with his top 10 ebooks.
Well,
It's 50
my-
bucks.
my favorite was
EU books.
Pina Bongiorno Kogi. That was my favorite author that I met.
So who was the first one?
Pina Bongiorno Kogi.
Bonjour. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the best author there.
Yeah. You're asking.
All of
like,
them were
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Sean Stewart. He talked to us for like what 20 minutes.
And it wasn't even in a panel or at a
Yeah.
booth. It was he was just sitting
He
there
was just,
chatting.
like, walking around the con.
Yeah. And then he was like, "Do you know where I'm supposed to like where the photo shoot's supposed to be?" And the bank list went off.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing.
Scott asked, "Did Sean know his book canceled Escape from Dagu?
No one thought to ask.
And did he get to read Escape from Dagu?"
You know, I did actually think to ask that, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
point that out.
Yeah,
He
kinda
did
negative.
reference a few times throughout like a couple panels that I saw him on how he had to write it in a very quick turnaround time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I expect that's
That's probably
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 aware
why.
of it too, right?
Yeah,
Not sure.
It's very different when you're in person because you can talk a big game, and then like when you're actually in front of the person and you're like
Yeah.
again with Max and like asking tough questions.
Yeah.
yeah, he's great at it. If you want to ask a tough question, you got Maxwell to do it. But yeah,
Call or text Maxwell
Yeah.
with whatever question, it will be answered.
but
He does not care.
But I will
Yeah.
say, like Joe talked a bit about Escape from Dagu, and I mean, like maybe we'll see something eventually. Like, not that I have any inside information or whatever, but I know that like Joe and Alex and Brendan and I talked a lot about lost works, not
Yeah.
just like in the extended universe, but
Fairy tales.
yeah, fairy tales, like lost works in just like
History.
life, right, in history and stuff like that.
Like Dylan's couch.
And our fascination with them. I think more like literary works, but
Yeah.
yeah, Dylan's couch as well will one day be
on Joe Bongiorno's Lost
rediscovered
Worlds.
amidst the ruins of civilization. And they'll be like, this happened. This looks to be a god of some sort that they praised.
Because
Waru.
Yeah.
he mentioned like John Whitman and the possibility of the fairy tales or whatever, but like God forbid, right? John Whitman's dies, right? And what if he actually had it?
Knock on wood. It's
Yeah.
a knock on
Yeah.
wood, man. It's the old
Yeah.
superstition,
Yeah, but like,
there's no real wood in this.
yeah, it is. But
Or,
like,
or in your head.
if he does have it, and it never came out, then it's just lost forever. So it's stuff like that where it's you want to try to accumulate as much as you can. And so just
Or
so
just
it's preserved.
like, yeah, like sort of have it out there so that people can enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that kind of mentality.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
Overall, a great day. Do you guys want to rate it out of 10?
9,000 Death Stars.
Well,
10,000 Death Stars. I don't know.
I think it was a 9 out of 10
200,000
because it
units,
wasn't
a million
for
more
like that
along
hour block, but like nothing happened on the exhibit floor. Well, everyone was at Stover Stackpole's panel. It was pretty great. That again, completely biased. That one part, that 1 hour where I'm just sitting, where Brian and I are just sitting at the Twin Sons table with like no one to talk to for like that hour because everyone's over. That was probably the worst part of the convention. But again, that's to be expected.
I would give it a 9 out of 10 too, just because I had to make some tough choices between panels and people.
Yeah.
I'd probably go 9.5.
Had to go one up above you.
Yeah, well, I really liked it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is my first con, so I don't have really context.
You don't
So
have any
I-
context?
I don't have any
Yeah, then I'll sit
context, so
myself out of my hotel.
I come into things very optimistic, and I come into things with an admittedly naive, hopeful view of things. So I was really happy with how it turned out. It turned out better than I expected.
It would have been a 10 out of 10 if Matt Wilkins had showed up.
Yeah, imagine if he had been here.
Yeah.
Or save Scott Johnson.
Yeah, save Scott Johnson.
And, yeah. You were saying?
No, nothing.
I thought you
said
said
it.
album, so I was
said
like,
it.
oh.
Were you gonna read more comments?
Oh, yeah.
Matt is coming shortly.
Yeah, okay, there we
So
go. Fine.
we might want to. I think we're fading fast, fellas.
Yeah, but Matt's coming, so we'll boost it back up. But
You'll just talk the entire time.
I was gonna say that
We'll just listen to
my
him and fall asleep.
rating of the con, because you didn't wait for mine.
No, we didn't.
9.9. Just it.
Leave
yeah.
that point one because nothing's perfect.
Yeah. I have no experience. Well, actually, I went to Comic-Con once. It was with my ex. Terrible time. But I block it out. I don't remember much. But this was my first con really to actually fully absorb and appreciate. And like, yeah, I didn't get to see everything, though. I think I saw everything I pretty much wanted to see outside of a few things. Like I missed the Stradley panel where it was just him by himself. But it's whatever.
And there's great memories here, not just with the authors, but with
just
each other.
Yeah.
Like I want to show this picture.
Who did show the picture.
On the first day, me, Marcel, Maxwell, and Only Good Games are just sitting talking. And Granny Toes messages me. He was like, "Are you guys there?" And I was like, "Yeah." And then I get a message. I'll show you.
Target
I get a message. Target acquired. And he's sent this photo from his hotel room of the four of us out the window sitting. And we jump up and we're looking around like, where is this guy? It was absolutely amazing. I'll remember that forever.
Who's the gentleman that we met from UTD? What was his name? Do you remember?
Jared?
Yeah, Jared. He's a cool guy. Also, shout out to Jefferson Weekly, who I met for the first time.
I've not met him yet. I need to meet
He
him.
might be coming back tomorrow. Really nice guy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, but before I do that, because he's gonna have to wait because he's always mean to me. So Slav says that.
No.
That's disgusting.
That was a backstage pass.
Anyway, Slav says I like the framing of this an actual universe work, and that there are all alterations like how we have the different versions of SE. Yeah, he's talking about SE because Slav's finally reading it. Oh my goodness.
No, please bring him on so we can't do that anymore.
Yeah, you're right. Well,
Put it full screen too.
yeah.
Keep up with comments later.
Yeah, okay, full screen.
Matt is on. Matt is in
No,
the house.
Okay, if you're commenting, we can't see, but you're gonna have to deal with it for now. Hi.
Isn't it like midnight for you?
Yeah.
Now you're gonna have to wait for him because
You can hear you.
Because I'm an old man. I gotta make
Go on. What's up? Look at everyone.
Hello there.
Look at Dylan. Wow. So
Yes.
fun. So how was day one?
It was pretty good. It was pretty good.
Look at all y'all together. Wow. Yeah, so I was, just so everyone knows, I was checking in on Alex the whole day, making sure he got his nap, he got his little snack, because he gets grumpy if he doesn't get his snack. I didn't bother Dylan, even though I wanted to. On the wheel, I said there should be a hug from Dylan as one of the choices.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I guess that. But yeah, so I'm glad everyone had fun. So I've been not watching the stream. I'm sorry. What fun things did we hear about?
A lot.
Chris's comment. Chris cracks me up. Anyway,
very broad strokes highlights were just everybody, like all the authors were really, really great people, and it was really great to meet, all the other people in the community that we've come to know online.
It's like meeting old friends.
Yeah, like
got to meet Only Good Games.
Yeah. Maxwell, Surfer Eddie.
Who's Maxwell? Oh, Maxwell. Yeah, how's he?
Yeah. He's great.
Give me a picture of Maxwell. Did you get me a picture of Maxwell?
Yeah,
Maxwell
I can
asked
send
the
you one.
funniest
That's
question.
who it was? Was that who it was?
I love what Maxwell asked Stackpole.
What did he ask him?
Who wants to take this
Do
one?
it.
All right, Maxwell, in the middle of a panel in a crowded room, and everyone erupts into laughter afterwards. He says to Stackpole, ever since reading The Back to War, I've been wondering, can Solonians and humans have children? Like, together. And Stackpole laughs, and then he talks about how there isn't a lot of interspecies in the galaxy, so probably not. It was hilarious.
Wow, that's like, instead of the birds and the bees, that's the Solonians and the Carillions there.
Yeah.
I would have said, I will explain it, but Alex has to leave the room first. Okay, I don't know which one's Maxwell on these pictures, because I don't think any of these were Maxwell.
And we also met Ken Palpatine, Surfer Eddie, Arthur.
I see those two. You got me that picture.
Okay.
But I didn't get a picture of Maxwell.
Yes, I'll do it right away.
It's all right.
Here we
And
go.
so, yeah, you got to meet Only Good Games. That's a lot of fun. Who else?
Son of Luke was here.
Oh, Son of Luke. He's a good guy. Is he with Twin Sons? Is he at Twin Sons?
Yeah, he went up on the panel. We
Unofficially,
forced him
but
to.
yeah.
He's like,
Oh, okay. No, I like that. I like that too.
You're a part. You've done donations.
Wow, I wish I could have gotten to meet him. Is it just you and Brian running Twin Sons booth right now?
Yeah, basically it's the two of us, and Son of Luke is also here, but he's more been wandering the hall. He's been kind of our Amelia this time of taking photos of everything and to posting them while we man the booth.
I don't have a picture with Maxwell yet. That'll need to be rectified tomorrow.
I have one.
Okay, I see Son of Luke in this picture.
Yeah,
Wow, y'all are all wearing black Star Wars shirts, just about. Except for the Star shirt. Wow.
The Waru shirt's amazing, right?
Oh, this is Kyle. Good
Yeah.
call.
And Abel G. Pena is in the last photos. It's Abel G. Pena, Joe Bongiorno, one of the Kens, Granny Toes, aka Zach, Barbara Hambley, and Nazo Servant Arc.
Yeah, you said Abel G. Pena was a Calista fan.
Yes, he did say that. When he was asked favorite obscure character, he said Calista.
No, it wasn't favorite.
Where'd you get that copy of Supernatural Encounters?
It was favorite women characters in the EO.
Where did you? It's in Burbank, California. Star Wars Architects. Where did you get the copy of Supernatural Encounters?
They had exclusive copies here with new covers
Nice.
in a very small run.
Anyone pick me up one? Because I still don't have mine. Scott got his in today.
It's $60 for a paperback and $100 for a hardcover, Matt.
Well, I should have my hardcover, I hope soon. Wow, you got a picture of one of the Blue Man Group. That was great. Oh, Thrawn.
Yeah, it's Thrawn.
Who's this in the yellow scarf?
That's Granny the Toe Lord, also known as Zach. Have you not met him?
He doesn't like anybody with the name Toe Lord.
Who's the guy that you and Alex are posing with the goatee and glasses?
The goatee and glasses. That is Nazo Servant Arc from Twitter. He's
Okay.
Yeah, he
You
shows
know
up a
that's
lot.
the whole thing.
Yeah, he shows up a lot
on streams. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure Brandon the Toad Lord has been in your stream chat before as
Yeah,
well, Matt.
he calls himself Christopher Nelson's number
Christopher
1 fan.
Nelson's
No,
number
no,
one.
I know who it is. Who's the guy behind Alex in the last picture you sent?
That's Maxwell.
Oh, that's Maxwell.
Hmm.
Look at that. What is this? Oh, that's Alex in a unfortunate position. I see. Okay, I didn't need to see that last picture.
When did you take that
But
one?
hey, never fall asleep when these guys are in the room. You should know that. Dylan
Yeah.
sleeps with one eye open when we share a room together. I don't know why.
We tried to recreate scenes from Dark Empire with Alex, but
What? No.
Woo! So yeah, so who all did you get to meet besides the ones you told me already? You got to see Barbara Hamley.
Barbara Hamley, yep.
I went to her panel. Everybody else went to.
What'd she say? What is exciting? I want to hear news.
Well, I asked her about writing Beldorian. And I asked how far through did she determine that Leia was going to kill Beldorian. What she said was, I don't remember the exact moment, but the entire story, I was thinking, of course she's going to be the one to do it, which I thought was a pretty good reply.
Good deal.
She also talked about if she was going to write a sequel to, this was Marcel's question, if she was going to write a sequel to Children of the Jedi and Planet of Twilight, what would it have been? And she said she wanted to write a Calista murder mystery, where she's solving like a murder mystery in a house. And she kind of turned that into Murder in Slush Time.
Yes, I do know that one. Murder in Slush Time was supposed to be her idea for a third novel.
Yeah.
Isn't that in is that in the Reader's Companion?
That's in Adventure Journals.
No. I mean that fact that she said murder because I remember reading an interview or something where she said Murder in Slush Time was her idea for a third book, but West End Games allowed her to do the storyline and one of their adventure journals, but that was going to be her idea for a third book. Odd way to go for Calista, but like I said, she's thinking outside the box. Can't fault that. What about Randy Stradley? You said he'd continue Dark Times.
Yeah, he would have liked to. He mentioned that they were going to do a Dash Jenner movie. He mentioned that when Dash Jenner had his hair cut and grew the beard, that people thought it looked like him. He wrote under a pen name because people were sending him ideas for the story that he didn't love, so he turned them away. But then he was like, I don't want to look like now I'm writing the story, so he wrote it under a pen name.
We also asked.
Yeah, we knew that.
For Dark Times, because like it's pretty dark, Dark Times, and he said no. Lucasfilm loved it.
He also said he likes.
George Lucas read it. As far as I know, George Lucas read the comic book.
So Henry Gilroy today in one of the first panels said George read the comics. He loved the comics.
He always read the comics. Yes, that was public knowledge. Even Filoni admits that in the DVD specials of Clone Wars.
And supposedly
he reads the comics.
Supposedly he even saved Quinlan Voss's life, saying to Ostrander, "Don't kill him off."
Oh, didn't Abel Pena tell us that he knows the guy who plays Quinlan Voss?
Yeah, Abel Pena told us he knows the guy who modeled Quinlan Voss.
And he says he's like him in real life, and we're like, which Quinlan Voss?
Filoni's or the
Hey, so is it true that Barbara Hamley hates Mara Jade?
Yes. Okay. So I was the only one who went. I felt so bad. Okay. Well, Son of Luke joined in a little bit later, but I came in to see Barbara because I knew not. I was like, they're not. People are gonna go to other things.
I would go see Barbara Hamley's in RV.
Yeah, I went to see Barbara, and there's a lot talking about her early life and stuff, but it did get eventually to, she was commissioned to write this book about finding Luke's soulmate, his partner. And so that's what she tried to do. And then later on, she said very sarcastically, because of Luke, what Lucasfilm perceived to be a better writer, decided that his female character was going to be the one to be the love of Luke's life. So I was not particularly happy with the direction they took Calista. And then Linda, who's was the host. Lisa, sorry. Lisa said, do you know about her fate in Fate of the Jedi? And she said, yes, I do. I read the book once. She said she doesn't know if she's more mad about the book itself killing her off or just the fact of how everything was handled beforehand where she never got to touch the character again.
She also wasn't aware that Calista appeared in Republic Commando.
Yeah, I asked her that when I got my book signed. So
Wow.
Or I asked her what did she want to write a prequel story, and she said she had some ideas, but Lucasfilm didn't want to go that direction. And then I asked her if she knew that in the Republic Commando books, I forgot to mention No Prisoners, but I said in the Republic Commando books, Callista's in them.
Yeah.
And it seemed like they were leading up to the Eye of Palpatine thing, and she's like, "Oh, well, that's awesome! I had no idea."
And
So-
actually, that was a really good portrayal of Calista too. I really like that portrayal of her. That was Karen Travis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
weird that it wasn't against the rules, but usually when you were taking a character from some other author, you called them out of respect and say, "Hey, I'm going to use this character. Can you give me some points on what she would do, what you think?" That's kind of odd that Karen Travis never talked to her. But anyway, Karen Travis is an awful person. I don't put it past her. Barbara Hamley.
We know that Travis did that a second time now, Matt,
I don't know.
because Sean Stewart mentioned that he told Lucasfilm, "Don't kill Scout after Dark Rendezvous is done. I want Scout alive. I know that Wee is going to die in Revenge of the Sith, but I can't bear for Scout to die because he was basing her on his daughter, who was 14 at the time. So he was writing a lot of her into that. So he's like, don't kill her
Please.
after I'm done."
He's like begging them,
And then
they said sure.
And Karen Travis was someone who had sat in on his writing workshops
And kept
she
her
knew
alive.
him,
Yeah.
but she's the one who established that Scout survives Order 66. But she didn't tell Stewart beforehand. So he found out after and thought it was really nice that his wish for Scout to live had been fulfilled.
Wow. But yeah, so I mean, Justice for Calista is the hashtag this weekend.
And
I think
Scott,
we should all wear. Let's get some shirts on that because she deserved it. I mean, it was and I mean, when they revealed that in Fate of the Jedi, I was like, oh! You never saw. I mean, I didn't see that coming. I don't think anyone saw that coming. It was one of those leftover, loose strings that you felt after New Jedi Order. If they didn't mention her, then she wasn't going to be in it anymore. And I remember Troy Denning told me that they were sitting there and they had these loose, they had the loose string storylines. If anyone wanted to grab and wrap one up, they could. And Calista, no one knew what to do with her, what to do with her storyline. They couldn't find something good for New Jedi Order, and they didn't want to waste, a twist or something. So they didn't use it for Legacy of the Jedi. And when it came to Fate of the Jedi, when they were creating Abeloth, they said, well, if she's an entity, what body does she take over? And they thought, wait a minute, this is a good time to put Calista in there, even though it's horrible. It's horrible. It's a horrible ending for her. But yeah, Justice for Calista.
and Matt, you'll also be glad to know that Twin Suns over here spun the wheel again to determine an ELC wave. And Dylan can talk about the results.
I'm listening, Dylan. So
It is.
weird.
So, because we had wave 10 announced, so wave 11 will have the Tales from Jabba's Palace, the Truce of Bakura, and Shadows of the Empire.
There you go.
Wheel.
I still like our. Did we do that stream together, or we tried to guess the next few?
Yep.
Dylan, were you in on that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
that
was
was for April Fool's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's so funny.
No, it wasn't for April Fool's Day. Dylan said for next April Fool's Day. I was like, no, dude, we're doing that tonight. That is such a great. Because when he mentioned that, I kept thinking about all these great things we could do. And I don't remember when we did it, but it was after April Fool's when Dylan came up with the idea. And I was like, no, man, we're doing that tonight. Because I just kept going. I went off. I had so many good. That was so funny.
Something else we did is me and Marcel gave Abel G. Pena a copy of Skywalkers that had been printed out.
That's nice.
And we got ours signed as well. Super guide.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah. Amazing person.
So you mentioned Sean Stewart. How's he?
He was. I said he was the highlight for me. And like Yoda Testament isn't even my favorite book, but he was just like obviously like Stover and is like very well spoken and a dynamic guy, but like Sean Stewart was like so well spoken and so insightful and like just a down to earth guy. Like came on the floor and just talked to us for like 20 minutes.
That's awesome.
panels, and it's just like I had read another one of his books right before coming to the con. Because I read Yoda, one of his books, and we talked about it, and I'm like, I'm gonna read every single one of your books now. Like, you're amazing, just like such a nice guy. And his daughter was she wasn't even on the panel with him. She was like sitting in the audience of his panel, and and he like referenced her. He's like, she was his inspiration for Scout.
Oh, and for Greyholm, stuff may be happening, but I can't say it.
Yeah, great. Yeah, we had a question about whether or not Sean's going to write another book soon. Not a Star Wars book, but just like a book. And so,
You said, maybe.
Yeah.
He never got asked to write another book, correct?
That is correct.
He never knew that people appreciated it as much because it didn't get the love. It kind of came out with a little fanfare and then disappeared. So he does.
Sorry, don't let me know. So I went to the Clone Wars panel, which had Matthew Stover and Sean. What were you guys doing at the time?
Probably a signing.
Yeah, they're at a signing. But Matthew Stover, I think he said this in both though. But Matthew Stover stated that it was Sean Stewart's Yoda Dark Rendezvous that was the big inspiration for how he portrayed Dooku in the Episode 3 novelization.
Yeah, I'll be honest. When Chris told me years ago it was his favorite book, I was like, what? And Joe Bongiorno said the same thing. I was like, what? I remember liking the book, but I didn't think it was a top 10 book. I reread it, and it's got to be top 20 for sure for me because. Oh, bye, Dylan.
He's gonna walk by. Do you want to take some pizza with you?
No, I'm okay. I've got an hour drive ahead of me, so.
All right, I'll see you tomorrow, Dylan.
See you.
I love you, Dylan. Don't leave me.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah, nice meeting you all. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no worries.
See you later.
See, the plan was for me to drive home with Dylan every night.
Oh,
I didn't know that, but it was what was going to happen. It was either that or snuggle up with Alex on the floor. Anyway, so what was I saying? Oh, so I reread Dark Rendezvous. I was blown away. I was thinking, why didn't I? Because I remember it being decent. You know, I thought it was middle of the road. Man, I was so off. That's a great book. It's definitely a top 20 book for me, easily. Yeah. And it's the best portrayal of Dooku ever. And it's, I mean, we didn't get many Yoda stories because it wasn't allowed by George Lucas.
Yeah.
But when he wrote Yoda, he did a great job. The whole book is just thrilling from cover to cover. And it's one of the best. Clone Wars didn't have many good novels. MedStar Duology, that one, and Matthew Stover's kind of the end of the Clone Wars, so that would count. But James Luceno's Labyrinth of Evil. I mean, those are really the only home runs in the whole, for me, the home runs in the whole series. Everything else is kind of mediocre. But
Matt, we told Sean Stewart that we didn't say Chris Nelson by name, but we said someone who's like really well respected and thought of as like a forefather of our little online circle, which he laughed when I mentioned that we had like a forefather to our online circle. He found that amusing. But I mentioned that he had always long proclaimed that Dark Rendezvous was the best, and it was something that we'd seen echoed and repeated.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying that.
We told him and I think he got a sense, not just from us, but just from everybody at the con, like just how much people love his work. And we said it's routinely like quoted as being like one of the best books in the EU. Like if it's not like in the top 25.
I'll tell you what I know, because this is what I know. I know this for a fact. He was questioning why he was invited because he didn't feel like he contributed that much and the book wasn't that impactful. And they assured him that it was, and if he showed up, he'd do it, and he finally did. But Sean Stewart is a true Star Wars fan. Like he didn't write it. I mean, of course, he wrote it for money, but he wrote it because he really loves Star Wars. Now, every author says that. They really love Star Wars. I get that. They love sci-fi. But he's a true fan of it. In fact, have they mentioned they're going to do an audio book of Supernatural Encounters?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they said who's voicing some of the people?
No, they have not. Not officially.
No. You want to tell us after
We'll be quiet about this for now, or so I've heard.
We're on a stream. We're not being quiet about it at all. Anyway, you're gonna see some familiar names.
You can tell us after the stream.
People who are voicing. No, I mean, if you can ask Kyle and see if he'll spill the beans. But the thing is, there's some people who are very interested in helping.
Kyle was in his Kyle Katarn cosplay today, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah, because he is Kyle Katarn. Did you ask him about my? Oh, y'all weren't there for the stream. That was off stream. Now that I think about it, never mind. Ask him how Matt's minis are coming along for my board game.
What does that mean?
He has a 3D printing machine. He's making me some minis.
Oh, awesome.
I want to know how they are. Give him a hug.
Right.
Patrick was great too.
Give him a hug for me. Say, Kyle, this is from Matt.
We will do.
Can you give him a butt squeeze too, or is that too much?
Probably not that one.
No.
Okay. You can just tell him. He said give you a butt squeeze too, but we don't feel that familiar.
All right,
with
Kyle. this
You
is
got it,
Matt.
Matt. I'll give him a butt squeeze just for you.
There you go. That's for me too, especially. I really regret I can't meet that guy. I mean, you're talking about all these people. Like, I'd love to hang out with all those, with Max and
Arthur Lowry.
Arthur Lowry. Incredible.
Oh
guy.
yeah, where's a picture of him?
Yeah, I have one. Did we get a picture with Arthur?
I certainly did.
He was taking a lot of pictures of us. We were all in a group one with twin sons at the beginning.
Yeah.
Okay.
Surfer Eddie, great guy.
You can give my number to Alex so he can take pictures too.
What?
Nothing. Nothing.
Here, let me. Yeah.
I see, because you had it
Oh, shoot.
forever and I don't.
Oh.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Hypothetically speaking, so when y'all get back, there should be a slew of podcasts breaking down
Yes, we will.
conversations.
Yes, we've talked about this. We're gonna make
You
it.
need to start, but listen to me. Write the notes. You think you'll never forget it, but you will. Write notes. Start taking notes down.
Yeah. I thought this was the stream was about.
Yeah, but we are getting back to podcasts. We've talked.
Did Alex just fall out of bed?
Yeah.
Look, this is why I said unplug everything around Alex. Don't let him get around electrical devices or fire. Don't let him play with sharp things. Do not let him have the scissors. He can't have markers because he'll eat them or draw on himself. Please. Feed him only soft foods.
That was great.
Remind him to go potty before he goes to night.
Okay, let's.
Be careful. I'm trying to think what else was said. There was a lot of interesting stuff. Stackpole and Randy Stradley both expressed interest in continuing unresolved stories.
Yeah, you know what? Stackpole is a really, really good guy. He's a really smart guy. I talked to him a lot. I went to several cons with him, who was speaking and stuff, and I always got to sit with and talk with him. And he's just an honest. He's a really down to earth guy. What about who did I want? Oh, Stover.
Amazing.
Cinematic. He's
Yeah.
such a presence. He's a force.
Yeah, he's very poetic with the way he talks. He
And-
also got such
And
a
he has like this
voice.
deep, rich voice.
And it's
Yeah.
like, and it booms. It
booms.
carries.
He's like, I don't even need this microphone.
Yeah.
So Jason Fry said that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say all the other guys there were gushing about Stover being there.
Yeah. There was a panel, Matt, with Abel G. Pena, Michael Kogi, Daniel
Keys
Moran,
Moran.
and
Jason
Fry.
Jason Fry.
Oh, Daniel Keys Moran showed.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was announced or not. I
He's
didn't
an
see
awesome
it.
guy. I can send
He
you a
wasn't
photo.
I know. No. He was okay. I knew a few people who were coming.
Yeah.
Before anyone else did. I keep good secrets. There is someone they were almost going to get, but I guess he didn't make it.
John Whitman.
Say what?
John Whitman.
John Whitman. They had him for a minute, and then he said no because he was busy. Steve Barnes, the Cestus Deception,
Oh.
was
And
the
the
other
Hive.
one
And the
that they
Hive.
were trying to get. They were in talks. It looked like it could be a thing, but it was still, it would have been a last minute ad. And but he was also but he was someone who thought, does anyone really care? Not really about your novel, but I want to get your autograph. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, I would love an autograph. I don't know what I could say. It's like, look, you had Kit Fisto on the cover. But other than that, though, I mean, I'd love to get his autograph. It's like if what's her name? Who's the girl who did Runes of Dantooine? I'd get her autograph. If Karen Travis was there, I'd get her autograph and say, to my favorite Tally fan.
What about Tim Leben? Yes. Yes.
I guess. I guess. I have two. I have his Firefly book too. I said, here, sign them both. That'll be the most interesting thing in the book.
I have someone that I would really love to see come if they do it again next year is Daniel Wallace. I would love to see Daniel Wallace. Every single source book I own, just sign it, please.
And the other name that I really think would have been great here, especially on a panel with Abel G. Pena, would be if they could somehow get Leland Chi and Ryder Wyndham. A panel of Pena, Wyndham, and Chi. That stuff would be going straight over my head, I'm sure.
Who's
That stuff would be crazy.
Who's the guy with the shaved head in this picture?
I'll have to refer back to
Glasses,
glasses.
older.
Yeah, that's Daniel Keys Moran.
Oh, okay, cool. So
He was a super guy. Only stayed for one day. He had 15 minutes to get to his restaurant before heading out, and then we were just all like asking if he could sign our stuff last minute, take pictures, and he was so kind. He was so kind. He took the time.
it would be nice if they got Alex Wheeler to show up.
Yeah. What if
That's
Alex Wheeler did show up?
Protector Titus just said. Oh no, he said Jude Watson. Whoops. I'd have her sign all my Rebel Force books. Anyway, so let me ask it. Okay, so did anyone ask Stover the question under the table if he was gonna? Because someone told me a long time ago that he would write. He would write it. Say what?
If we maybe accidentally paid him.
Yes.
We did not get a chance to ask, but we could always
But
ask.
Brennan still needs to get his Stover book signed.
That
So-
can't be asked in an official capacity, but it needs to be recorded from my ears.
That we're going back tomorrow, so
So when we get our
Right.
signing, one of us will have our phone recording, so you can hear
That's
it.
fine. Please don't have them sign your stomach again, Alex. Please, that's just awkward.
We already spent so much time scrubbing the Sharpie off your forehead.
yeah.
How about the nipple?
Barbara Hamley and I got matching. Barbara Hamley and I got matching tattoos today. So
Ask Barbara Hamley what's it feel like to be the only remaining Star Trek author that's written both. Oh, never mind.
Our favorite aliens were Gamorreans, which was
Well, I mean, A.C. Crispin and Bonnie and McIntyre are gone. She,
You know-
wasn't she a Star Trek writer that flipped over because Bantam was getting started? And there were only 3. Someone correct me in the chat if I'm wrong, but I think that's how Bondi and McIntyre, Barbara Hamley, and A.C. Crispin got the job because they wrote successfully for Star Trek, and they said, let's bring them over to Star Wars. I don't know if there's anyone else who's like that, who was successful. And I mean, I'm sure there may be someone who wrote both, but
John Jackson Miller has now done it, but he was Star Wars first and then Star
yeah,
Trek. I
it's the
believe.
opposite.
yeah.
Yeah.
But those 3 ladies were Star Trek authors that were very successful. And then they switched. Bantam said, hey, come write Star Wars. And now she's the last of them. So that's interesting. What was my other question? You had another one. Corinne. How do you say her last name?
Karina Becco.
Did anyone ask her what was the connection with the droid who knew Han Solo?
No one asked
but
that yet.
I
But
did ask her.
And I need to know how she would have finished it.
That's the
okay.
thing. That's the problem.
So she said,
And does Son of Luke exude sex appeal in person more than he does over YouTube?
Alex, you answer this.
Definitely.
Yeah, I thought so.
Two
All
thumbs up.
All the ladies
Two thumbs
wanted him.
up.
All the
I
ladies-
thought he did. I thought he was like Prince Caesar with his vibes. But
Yeah.
anyway, and like Alex gets a little heated and faints, even though it's really just for women. But you know, Alex is kind of anyway. So, what was my question originally?
Karina Betko said,
Yeah,
she said that they had other plots like that they wanted to cover with Anya Solo. I asked her directly. I was like, was she ever going to team up with Cade Skywalker? And she said they were really still focusing on just Anya, but eventually they would have probably like met up and had an adventure together or something like that.
From what I recall, this could be all speculation because I don't remember the Force.net interviews back then. But I believe they said it was the original plan was maybe to make 50 issues again, then do a big mini series afterwards. War, I don't know what it's going to be called. Probably War, and that was going to possibly include Cade Skywalker in the game.
Yeah, that's consistent with what I heard from her today. And I asked her.
Okay, because that's what I heard years ago.
And I heard the same thing from Ostrander, who said he would return and write Cade stuff after they finished establishing Anya.
Yeah.
And then I asked her, I said, what's Anya's link to Jason Solo and Tenel Ka? Like, is that the lineage? And she said that they were under an NDA, they couldn't touch it. And she said it was her understanding that was going to be covered in a book or books.
The Han Solo connection?
Not the Han Solo connection, just
Anya
Solo's lineage.
Right. Oh, she signed a non-disclosure agreement.
Well, no, because Jason Solo's daughter is Alana Solo. But
Yeah.
Alana Solo, when she gets married, her last name will change. So where is Anya Solo from if Anakin's dead and if Alana is not going to keep her maiden name?
Well, she made it
descendant.
sound like the NDA was like they couldn't even discuss it.
Yeah.
And they were saving it for the books, perhaps Sword of the Jedi or something after that.
Huh. Interesting. So they were gonna. I know that they said, "Hey guys, don't worry, because we're gonna meet in the middle with Legends, the comic book."
Yeah.
That's that. They assured fans like me who were outraged by that. Yeah. All right. So
Plan. So.
And how is Karina Becco? Is she nice?
Oh, super nice. Yeah.
I'm going to meet her tomorrow. I'm excited.
She was super approachable. Honestly, everybody was. There was not a single author that went there that was not approachable.
Great.
There's an exclusive.
I was asking if she was proposable.
Matt, there's an exclusive book here, Matt.
Yes, let's see it.
By Abel G. Pena. We have a copy in here.
What is it?
He published a book called Legends Never Die, the Abel G. Pena interviews.
Oh,
and
nice.
It's his memoirs for all his time writing the expanded universe.
That's
so graciously, Arthur Lowry and I, specifically Arthur Lowry's idea, we've got a copy of this for Chris Nelson with it signed to Chris, thanking him for his support.
That's awesome.
Which Arthur Lowry is really great. Arthur Lowry was at the beginning just handing me like double posters that he'd grabbed for Chris. And I'm just getting inundated with all these posters. It was amazing.
Yeah, he's a solid. I've never met him, but he's a solid guy. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Look at the back.
Oh wow!
Absolutely fantastic, phenomenal.
Love it. That's great. Chris is gonna love that. And Maxine, by the way, you should be there. You should be there, Maxine. Instant party. Just add Maxine. That's what I always say. All right, so. Hold on, I'm going down the list of characters here. I want to know. Tell me about Random Standard. Tell me what's true. Jason Fry. What we got? Anything?
Sorry, what was the question?
Jason Fry.
What about him?
I mean, anything interesting to report from him? Who is Mike Hansen?
He assembled the Epic collections, and the reason that's significant to me is he spent. We'll get back to this in a minute, if that's okay. But Mike Hansen assembled the Epic collections, and he did it with such meticulous good job to where he put all the short comics in order and everything to make sure it all lined up. He did extensive research, and he put 2 comic books, The Storyteller, where C-3PO gets destroyed, and The Fourth Precept from Visionaries at the end of the timeline in the Epic collection with Legacy 2, placing them after. So this is like the epics can be treated as like official timeline placement. He was
Yeah.
doing incredible things. But the main question is, he included Brian Wood's comics in the epics and didn't put it in the Infinities volume. So we want to ask Stradley and Hansen about what they knew about where Brian Wood's comics were intended to go.
Well, that's in an interview. It's widely stated that Randy Stradley goes, "This is a reimagining."
After he wrote it, after it had already been out.
After people were complaining about it, but anyway,
Yeah.
to
go back to Jason Fry though, like he was like super nice, super approachable, like deep, vast knowledge. I said, "You're a continuity master." He's like, "No, Abel Pena is the continuity master." So, but he had this interesting story that he told during one of the panels where it was like something that he did that nobody else noticed or ever picked up on, and it was about like someone in like the special editions of the original trilogy at the end where Coruscant's getting liberated, like shouts out some line or something like that, and he expanded upon it, and like nobody else ever picked up on it.
It was like Asha or something like that.
nice.
And he took it as like having a hidden meaning that he revealed it slowly over 2 source books.
Yeah, and like the Son of Sons or something like that. It was like the fulfillment of a prophecy, like Luke being the fulfillment of some kind of Jedi prophecy. And he's like, nobody ever like picked up on it.
Well, I mean, he's so deep in the lore sometimes he loses everyone else.
Yeah.
I love how he tied in Marvel's Nagai War and called it the Forgotten War because no one talks about it because it was a war that happened really quick and was over. And the other thing that Jason Fry did good, I think a lot of people know now, he did that Zim the Despot for Wizard of the Coast or something a long time ago, those online shorts. He expanded
Michael Kobe
and Jason Fry.
They both did it together.
Yeah, but you don't need it. You don't need to track those down because in the Guide to Warfare, he expanded on and used that for Guide to Warfare.
Yeah, well, Guide to Warfare, but then there was cut content by Michael Kogi where there was an actual in-universe play online. So they did a really good job.
I have that stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking of Michael Kogi, to ask him what Westing Games was like, what working on the Adventure Journal was like, that's got to be incredible.
I got my Adventure Journal number 3 signed, and he flipped through it. And as he's flipping through it, he was like, "This is the first time anyone's brought me this to get signed. This was my first story, and this is the first time I've been signing it." So we got a picture of him signing it. And then as he was flipping through, he'd point at every article he saw and be like, "This is a good one," and then he'd talk about it. He clearly had a deep love and appreciation of the Adventure Journals, and he had the advantage that he's worked on the Adventure Journals with West End Games, he worked on Wizards of the Coast, and he worked on Fantasy Flight Games with Edge of the Empire. So he worked in all 3 RPG EU companies.
That's another guy. When I was told ahead of time. That was a last minute ad, and that's someone I would have sat with for at least an hour or two because West End Games was run improperly. And Joe Bongiorno told a great history of West End Games. But the fate that was West End Games, they were their own worst enemy. The owners were, not him. But those people became future stars. Pablo Hidalgo came from West End Games.
Yeah.
Troy Denning came from West End Games. A lot of these people got their start in West End Games. And West End Games held the candle to the EU when no one was during the dark times. They were truly the only fans that still cared about when people like me and everyone else, we forgot unless you were playing RPG, you didn't care about anyone who says I was a Star Wars fan even during the dark, you're lying. Maybe you watched the movies a lot, but you didn't get the West End Games material. And what they did is kept it alive. And George Lucas was a huge fan of West End Games, giving a West End Games package to several of the Bantam authors prior to them writing their books. Timothy Zahn says he got a big package of books. Like, what is all this? But West End Games was hugely impactful. They're like the unsung hero of the EU because they wrote all this background that George Lucas devoured and knew.
Dylan asked Barbara Hambly if she still had her West End Games material because he was like, "You know how valuable it is now. I know they gave it all to you." She's like, "We probably threw it away or it's in the basement or something now."
I remember back then it was a dime a dozen. You could find those everywhere at any bookstore, at any games shop or whatever. I remember walking into a comic book store back in the mid to early 90s, and they had all that West End game stuff. You know what I did? I just walked right by it and went straight to the comic books and then thanked them and went out. I wasn't buying just Star Wars. I was buying other comics. I remember they had Black Sands of Sakura. I was like, oh, is that a book? Oh, it's just West End Games. And then I left it there because no one really got it. And it was probably $5 back. I mean, those things were cheap too, secondhand. So they were worthless back then, which is why they're worth so much now. No one took care of them. But that he worked with Wizards of the Coast is very, because I'd love to hear his thoughts of what he thought between the RPG. What did West End Games get right that Wizards of the Coast got wrong, and vice versa? You know, where did Wizards of the Coast get right that maybe West End Games got wrong? Because I think it's anyone who played RPGs, by the way. I think everyone agrees, and I could be wrong, but I want them to correct me because I didn't play the RPGs. But online, I heard that Wizards of the Coast was a big whiff, because it just wasn't as imaginative or creative as West End Games. I heard I like some of the stuff they did, but it wasn't anything to scream about. Like West End Games really got into the lore of it, and I felt like Wizards of the Coast just kind of melded in. Not all the time. They made some very interesting books, but no short stories. No, they were just more about the gaming statistics and stuff like that. But they could have given a little love, because why would you? And they had it during the heyday, during the prequel era. When the prequels were coming out, they had it during the heyday, and it just drove it to the ground to where Fantasy Flight eventually picked it up. And I'd love to hear his thoughts on Fantasy Flight. Shoot, did he write the big retcon in the what's it called? The Force source book
about Clone Wars
retcon.
Yeah.
Shoot, did he do that?
That reminds me, on the first evening,
wrote it was brilliant.
Better than meeting any of the authors was on the first night we were here. For 6 hours, we sat in the pavilion in the courtyard around a table, like 6 or 7 of us at a time, and people would rotate in and out, and we just talked about the expanded universe. There was me, Alex, Marcel, twin sons, son of Luke. Arthur was there for forever. Only Good Games. Granny Toes, Zach, Maxwell was there.
Yeah.
I'm probably David, who we just met. Maxwell was there earlier. But for 6 hours, it felt like 10 minutes, and we covered all ranges of topics, including talking about the Clone Wars little retcon and Fantasy Flight games. And that, to me, is the best part of this so far.
Yeah.
Is just the interaction that you would never have otherwise.
Well, you're dealing with tons of people who are EU enthusiasts like yourself.
Yeah.
And it would be done through a stream. Like, I just discovered that Alex doesn't have a robot voice in person. It was amazing.
I know. He's speaking in like perfect, clear English. This is so weird. It's almost like the Wi-Fi works at the hotel.
Yeah, it's crazy how the world works. I'm trying to do my part for the EU, at least this whole thing's about the EU, but I'm trying to do my part for the EU movement, because there was a panel that I thought was going to be about continuing Legends. It was called like Continuing Adventures of Legends or something like that. But it's actually about like Legend stuff being interwoven into Disney stuff, which is not what I'm here for. So I'm not going to that panel. But if the con's not going to do that, which is fine, that's their prerogative. I'm trying to ask people with their consent if they will be willing to answer 3 questions of mine, or for the sake of the EU community, which is just what's one of your favorite things in the Expanded Universe? What would you like to see if the Expanded Universe got continued, or what stories would you like to see? And what would be your pitch to Lucasfilm? So far, I've only got like 4 or 5 people, and I'm only using my phone, so the audio quality is kind of bad, but doing the best I can.
Have you done me yet?
I haven't done you yet, but I already know what you want.
Are you
What
gonna
do I
do?
want?
You want more of you.
Oh yeah.
So let me ask you this. You saw a lot of other EU fans. What are the fans from YouTube or your Discord or whatever who you wish were there that you could see?
Well,
Matt Wilkins.
You can't pick me. You can't pick me. Pick someone else.
Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson.
Scott Johnson.
Oh, I don't think we're supposed to say his name, are we?
Oh, I mean, I know, but I would
Save
love
Scott
to see
Johnson.
it. I want to give him a hug.
Okay, so Scott Johnson.
It's
You
his
get 4 more. You get the top 5.
It's his 36th birthday today or yesterday.
I know. We could have lifted him up on his shoulders and carried him around the con.
Yeah.
All right, so Scott Johnson. Who else? You get to name 5, I guess, if you can name 5.
Chris Nelson.
Christopher Nelson.
I like how y'all said that. It's not Jeopardy. You don't have to ask and answer in the form of a question. But yeah, Chris Nelson.
Greyhound.
Greyholm.
Greyholm, Jedi. Gotcha.
Noah.
Really? Yeah. Yeah, I guess.
Are you sure? I'm
Absolutely.
kidding. Noah's one I'd want too.
It would go horribly, but it would be fun.
Yeah, he'd be like, this is awful.
Seeing him interact with Hambly is scary.
Guys, it's so he's stupid. How they okay, anyway. Go ahead. That's my Noah person.
He would literally have a heart attack. He'd be like pooping on the floor. It'd be crazy.
One more. Who do you get to meet?
There's so many.
There's so many good
Lance,
people.
Maxine,
What?
Love you all. Slav. Like
Slav would be
Slav?
because no,
Are you saying that because he's in the chat?
Titus, Jay, Drake,
yeah.
Iron Inquisitor.
I'll say Slav just because I think he looks like the younger version of
Chris Nelson.
So I think that'd be really funny to see them together.
Good deal.
Anonymous Gamer. Sea Spider, Liam.
So many.
Zendor
I'd
fan.
love to see.
I see Son of Luke said Alora.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oh, she was supposed to come. Right?
She was supposed to be here.
Maxine, I didn't let him pick me, Scott. I'm off the list. Maxine, you'd be in my top 5. My favorite Rhode Islander. In my top 5. Easy.
The only Rhode Islander, perhaps.
I'd put Chris in there too. I'd love to see Chris. I'd love to see all you guys. Like I said, that's what got me convinced on that stream when Marcel and you and Alex all said y'all were going, and Arthur said he was going. Only Good Game said he was going. Laura at the time said she was going. I was like, dang. No, Son of Luke, you can't pick me. You got to pick other people.
But Matt, there were 10 or 15 people who I knew.
Yeah.
Yeah, this guy's a celebrity. People were like walking up to him and being like, "Are you Quinlan Voss?"
Who?
Brennan.
What'd you tell
person
them?
right here.
Yeah. They're way too kind, but there were a bunch of awesome people here. 10 or 15 people from the Discord servers, from the Instagrams, from YouTube.
Has anyone?
Twitter. It was
Has anyone? I don't see any streams, live streams of the floor and stuff.
They recorded all the panels seemingly.
I don't care. I don't want to see someone walk around the con live streaming it.
Who
What do you
wants
think?
that task tomorrow? I only got my phone.
Well,
I don't got my phone. Alex, look, I'm telling you.
You know, I don't know if it's one of the greatest compliments ever or one of the greatest insults, but it's like people. I've heard a couple times though, like he's Chris of our generation and I'm you. So I don't know what that says, but you know what?
No. I didn't know people didn't like me that much. Yeah, no, only Good Games. You are allowed to stream. They aren't. The host of the con aren't, but we are. Because originally I was going to do that. I was going to come over there. I was going to come up there and do it. They were going to get me a media pass, and I was going to come and I could stream, but the people officially run the con couldn't. But we could. I could. I was going to do it.
Yeah.
But beyond the 10 or 15 people I knew who are here,
Yeah.
I've met 2 or 3 new people who just fit right in. They want the same things that we do. They like the same things we do. They're as intensely
Wait,
into
they like Naked Palpatine?
not that,
Some
but
of it,
maybe
Unmasked.
some. It's not come up yet, believe it or not, Matt, because maybe you're the only one who brings that up, not Alex.
That's true.
Yeah. It seems like it's becoming a bit of an obsession for you.
Maybe so. You can turn that on me. Look at your confidence there. Don't get
Yeah.
cocky, kid. Anyway,
So Alex is beside me. I'm feeling at the height of my confidence right now.
Yeah, I'm a confidence booster.
Yeah.
what was my other booster? Dang, I forgot the other question I had. Shoot.
But people here who we hadn't met.
Did you go out to eat with anyone? Do you hang out with these people?
Dylan.
We had pizza.
Dylan's great. Dylan's great.
Yeah.
You got to meet Brian. Brian's an awesome guy.
Mine's amazing.
Too, for sure.
I want to give
What
him
a great guy.
Brian and Dylan are
Brian is the best of us. That is the guy. That is the best of us right there.
Honestly.
He is and if you get to hang out with him, I mean, I miss hanging out with him. Back in the day, I used to work in his neck of the woods a lot. And I made sure at least one night a week, if I was there for multiple weeks, or at least one. I didn't want to bother him and hang out with him every night, but I did want to hang out with him every night. But I'd bother him a couple of times I was there. And we'd go out to eat and everything, and then we go over to his house, hang out later. But he's such a great guy. Such a great guy. And everyone knows now why I love Dylan. You got to meet him in person because he's like soft and fuzzy when you hug him. He's kind of warm and he kind of hums. It's kind of weird. But,
I hugged him, but
he's a good man. He's a good lad. I love him.
As the representative of Ewoks everywhere, it sounds like you're comparing him to an Ewok, soft and fuzzy.
Soft and fuzzy, yeah. The Touch Me books. There's a Touch Me Dylan book somewhere.
Fuzzy is a Dylan.
Exclusive to LEGENDSCON. Yeah, but no, I get to meet Red 5 Reviews next year and Geeks Attic.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And I think I'm meeting, someone just told me they were going to be there. No, Dylan's going to be there too.
Where at?
Stupid Chainsaw Productions. Jeremy's getting married.
Amazing.
Red 5 Reviews, Geeks Attic, and myself are groomsmen.
Oh, man, that's amazing.
And then Dylan's coming up too. I don't know if Dylan's a groomsman. He may be. But we're all going to travel. I said Geeks Attic's in Oklahoma, and he's going to go. So I'm going to get to meet Geeks Attic and Red 5 Reviews, which is Adam. And I love both those guys. So getting to meet them face to face can be great.
Obviously, the main focus is on the wedding, and that's amazing news. But please, a picture of all of you together would be absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, that'll definitely happen. And quite possibly, even though no one cares about this, Ryan Kennel and I will probably meet this year.
That's amazing. Always love to see.
I'm going to meet Ryan. And then who else? I want to, Chris, do you want to go ahead and announce it? I don't know if Chris made the announcement. But, we're just going to say, guys, if you want to come to No Con in Chris's hometown, it's going to be me. It's going to be Scott Johnson. There's going to be a lot of other EU people at No Con because it's going to be no con at all. It's just going to be us hanging out.
Wait,
and,
really?
There's on the schedule there, I think there's from 2 to 3 is nap time. But other than that, there's lunches, breakfasts, brunches, and dinner.
Is this actually happening?
Chris will come out with the official announcement on his channel there, but No Con is going to be great. It's going to have all your EU fans. And by the way, we're going to be truly inclusive. We're not going to, we're not going to just, we may even have Mara Jade there. What's her name? Shannon McRandall will probably come too. Because we're very inclusive at No Con. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Going to all gather around Chris's. I don't know if he's still here. He may be working on releasing that video now, or maybe that was after Legends. I don't know when he was going to announce that, but yeah, No Con, check it out.
You got my hopes up for a minute that we're all going to meet in a warehouse and Chris was going to read us Escape from Dagu.
He could. I
guess
he
not.
could. He's gonna. No, there's going to be exclusive copies of Escape from Dagu.
You already have it.
The
Base
Mandalore
it on your copy?
and say what?
Are you going to base it on the copy you have? Like, just duplicate it?
That's up to Chris. But yeah, so you're going to want to see it. You're going to want to experience it. And 2024 is just going to be or 2023. I don't know when we're going to do it, but it's going to be awesome. You got to come see. And all autographs and pictures are free. Without a shirt, I do charge. But other than that, it's just, because I know Alex is going to ask. But other than that, though, yeah, you got to check it out. Exclusive on Chris will give you the details. It's going to be awesome. Scott knows a little bit about it too, but yeah, it's just gonna be no con maybe.
On,
So there
on
you
that note, we have really enjoyed our time here at this inaugural LegendsCon. Hopefully, in the years to come, you could be there. Some others could be there. Some Scott Johnsons could.
I'm looking forward to
could be there.
NoCon.
But yeah, NoCon sounds amazing if it really did happen and you didn't invent it 15 seconds ago. But
What? Oh, you guys are gonna be so upset when Chris comes out with the announcement, and you're gonna be like, "I thought Matt was kidding."
no, I'll be booking tickets if he comes out with the announcement.
We won't.
Scott knows about it.
Oh yeah. So if we ask him,
If Scott Johnson's is in the chat still, he can say about it.
Yeah, he can corroborate this wild tale.
yeah, the two people. who-
No con is more real than Brendan's brother. You got that right.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
We all
funny. Yeah, but
You know what's funny about that, Matt? Is that Brendan, when he drove down, he was like, Brendan, where's your brother? He's like, oh, I was really sad I had to say goodbye to him like a day ago. I was like, oh, that sounds like a likely story.
wait. If I called him,
Fight Club, you see it goes back and you see Brendan saying goodbye to himself in the mirror and walking away.
That's the plot twist.
do you want me to call him right now?
No, you already did a stream with him, so
Yeah.
I'm done with it. I mean, you did a stream with someone you paid to act like your brother, and then he says, "Can I go to my room?" Which you really meant you only paid for 30 minutes. So I gotta go now. My mom's gonna be mad. That's weird that he said that when you're supposed to have the same mom, but just
Thank you so much for joining us.
There you go. There you go. Look, highlight Scott's comment.
What happened now?
That's the way you end it. There you go.
Or is it?
Yep. That's amazing.
That's amazing. I'll believe it when I see it.
What was the comment?
It's. Oh wow. Okay. Well.
Wow.
I
Now
hope I didn't jump the gun, Scott. I know that Chris was supposed to announce it, and I thought he was supposed to announce it on day one, but maybe he's just waiting until after the con.
Yeah.
I don't know. Chris is a very busy guy.
For sure. Thank you so much for tuning in with us, Matt. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Call us anytime tomorrow when we're not in panels.
Yeah, like after 6.
Like
I
after
have
the-
random times in between that I'm available, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, well, let us know. It would be great to talk to you again. These guys are awesome. These guys are awesome right here.
Marcel is awesome.
Yeah. These
Stay
guys,
floaty.
they're the greatest.
Alex is okay.
And so we're going to sign off from LegendsCon with one last word, and that is we need the expanded universe to be continued. And yeah.
Bye-bye.